Where are the low-value men?
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site. You can believe that. You can believe that. You can believe that.
Contracted COVID, but says with a mixture of medicines, including the controversial horse dewormer that has poisoned hundreds of people nationwide, he's now recovered.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
From the headlines to the whisper start. Low value mail. Low value mail at 9 o'clock. Where truth and fiction take a walk.
Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon? You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
Our stories are.
What murders? What murders indeed. Welcome back, everybody, to an all-new episode of Low Value Mail on this Monday, December 9th, 2024, the year of our Lord. We got a humdinger of an episode for you, if I might say so myself. No guests tonight, unfortunately. We did have John Cullen booked. We were going to talk all about the Las Vegas shooting conspiracies. He's dug up a lot of stuff regarding that topic. However, he fell ill with the norovirus this afternoon, unfortunately, and couldn't make it. So we're just going to do an old-fashioned open lines episode, just like we used to do 2 months ago. So that'll be exciting. For that, there's a lot happening in the world. There's all over New Jersey. If there's anybody from New Jersey who has seen one of these drones or knows about these drones, please call in because I'm interested. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go search New Jersey drones. Like literally half the fucking state is people just being like, these fucking drones flying everywhere. I saw a video where they had their own like DJI drone or DJI drone, whatever they are. And they're like, it wouldn't work. As long as the drones were flying around in the sky, they're like, literally, it just was bricked. And then the moment the drones went away, they're like, I could fly my drone again. So weird shit with the drones. Who knows what's going on there? I mean, all the police are like, we don't know. We don't know what's going on. They're not on FAA radars and stuff. It's some bizarre shit. It is some bizarre shit. Daniel Penny, exonerated, acquitted, not guilty. But the biggest story right now, hands down, bigger than Syria, bigger than drones in New Jersey, bigger than Daniel Penny, is Luigi Mangione. Am I saying that correctly? Luigi Mangione, a man that has captured the imagination and the hearts of a nation. I rhymed. I didn't intend that to rhyme at all. I'm not gonna lie. That just sometimes you just catch a break, you know? That's just what happens. Sometimes you just catch a break. So, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, are there any of you? Oh, people are saying connection's choppy. But anyways, Luigi Mangione, if you don't know, he assassinated. This is a fascinating story. This whole thing, we're getting little bits and pieces here and there. He assassinated the CEO of United Healthcare last Wednesday. Not far from where I am right now. Maybe, what are we talking, 15 blocks away from where I am right now. I could walk right over there. By the way, shout out to him for honoring the Times Square gun-free zone. So if you guys don't know about New York, there's this thing called the Times Square gun-free zone. I'm currently in one right now, and they just have signs around, and it just says, this is a gun-free zone. And then presumably people who have guns, they go, oh, I didn't realize. I'm going to stay out of this. I didn't realize this was a gun-free zone. So I will not bring my illegal firearm into the gun-free zone. Thanks for letting me know, about that city of New York and that sign. Thank you, because I didn't realize this was a gun-free zone, but the sign says it. So anyways, the gun-free zone, it extends all the way to 53rd Street and 6th Avenue. And Luigi Mangione, assuming he is the killer, which it's sounding like he probably is, he did the execution at 54th Street. He did it right across the street from the gun-free zone. So this man, I was going to say he respects laws, but he doesn't, obviously, because he potentially murdered somebody. But he does respect a good sign. The man sees a sign and he goes, damn it, I was going to murder him in the gun-free zone, but I guess I'll wait till he's out of the... Be chaotic if you don't respect the gun-free zone. So he did that. People are handling this generally pretty normally, I'd say. Today in Washington Square Park, there was a United Healthcare CEO assassin lookalike competition. All these people showed up dressed as the assassin, and whoever had the best costume won money. Very normal way to deal with this kind of thing, I'd say. Is you go, hey, I'll say this. This is a weird story. People love this guy. I think if you polled most Americans, I'd say he has I was going to say he has a higher approval rating than Joe Biden, but that's not saying much. He has an above 50% approval rating. More people approve of Luigi Mangione. I'm going to start saying it really Italian. Mangione. More people approve of him than disapprove, which is somewhat telling on our culture. Is it a good thing? Probably not, I guess. It's not like the best. I almost said breast. Best precedent to set. But anyways, last week he assassinated in cold blood the CEO of United Health. It was fun. And I don't condone murder. The producers here, Low Value Mail, Mark. I can't speak for Mark. Mark actually might condone murder. I don't condone. Sorry for throwing you under the bus, Mark. I'm just not going to speak for Mark. Okay. I don't condone murder at all. I don't condone it. But it's funny. I was watching, flipping through the news. I was watching CNN and watching him kind of come to terms, because, the people in the healthcare industry, they think they're the good guys. They're very much like, why would people not like us? We're like doctors. We're basically doctors. All we do is help people. Why would people not like us? It's difficult to believe for them. But so the whole healthcare industry is having to come to terms at the moment with the fact that most people hate them. Most people really, I would say loathe, despise. I'm trying to think of all the synonyms here. They don't like them, but they were caught very off guard about this whole thing, because their perception of themselves was, we're executives at healthcare companies. We save lives every day. Wrong. Everybody in this country, not everybody. I'm sure some people like you, but not a lot. Not a lot of people like you. And it was funny to watch it because on Wednesday, I believe it was Wednesday morning, the dude, the CEO gets whacked. Right? And then another insurance company, Anthem Blue, puts out a tweet, press release, some kind of thing, and they say, hey, I believe it was later that day, they go, hey, this is unrelated. It might have been a scheduled tweet. Tough timing on the scheduling of the tweets, Might have been just a scheduled tweet, but they put out this tweet and they go, hey, we're going forward, we're no longer going to be covering the full cost of an anesthesia during an operation, during a surgery. We'll only be covering a certain amount, and then if the surgeons require a pocket, we're not going to be covering all that stuff, right? And then I guess whoever worked at this company was kind of just perusing Twitter or Threads or, God forbid, Blue Sky, and they go, hey, People hate us. And this is not a good policy right now because they might come kill us. So then they just backtrack. They go, you know what? Forget about that. Forget about that. That was just a crazy time. It's just a crazy time that we were living in. It was just, I don't know what we were thinking. We were just kind of spitballing. Mark says, I don't condone it either. Please clarify. So I would like to say that everybody at Low Value Mail does not condone murder. Myself, producer Mark, neither of us condone murder. Right? But so Anthem Blue, what did they call it? Blue Anthem? Right? Anthem Blue, right. So they're like, we're not going to do that. Sorry about that. We'd like a redo here, which sets a bad precedent. Not a good precedent that you can go kill the CEO of a rival company to get another company to do something. Like I made a joke about it on stage about essentially, like McDonald's, they go, we're getting rid of the McRib. And you go, okay, we're going to go kill the CEO of Burger King just to send you a message. And then let's see how we want the McRib all year. What is the McRib? What's it made of? I don't think anybody knows, right? But not a good precedent to set. Probably some would say not great for a society. Vigilantism is not the best thing overall for any society. In general, just to say, hey, this is a good thing to do, but a lot of people we're not into vigilantism. Not at all, right? But a lot of people in America, they go, hey, kind of like the guy. And he's a good-looking dude. He's jacked. He's got abs and stuff, right? But so he had a little manifesto. He got arrested today in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Not a great name for a town. At a McDonald's. Gets arrested at a McDonald's. And he had a 3D printed gun, a 3D printed suppressor. Notice how I didn't say silencer. I remember I said silencer once on this podcast. Everybody's like, what's a fucking silencer? What are you watching movies? It's called a suppressor. Everybody still calls it a silencer in all the news, but they're stupid. But I've learned. It's a suppressor. But he had a 3D printed gun, 3D printed suppressor. He had $8,000 in U.S. cash, $2,000 in foreign currency, fake ID, a passport, which he was in court maybe in the last couple hours, basically said, I don't know where that money came from. It was planted on me. I have no idea. So maybe he's trying to play some sort of crazy defense here. I don't know, but he had a 2-page manifesto. Among the lines in the 2-page document found on Luigi Mangione are the following 2 quotes. These parasites had it coming, and I do apologize for any strife and trauma, but it had to be done. And this is from a police official who had seen the document, told CNN. Also, guys, this is just a note. Again, don't condone murder on this podcast. Don't condone assassinations. But if you do commit one, maybe don't travel around with like a piece of paper that basically is just kind of evidence that you're not a good idea. The document also railed against the healthcare industry and suggested violence is the answer, according to this same official. So, is violence the answer? Again, I don't think so. Some people do. He was very poetic about it too. He wrote on the bullets, deny, defend, depose on the bullets, right? Which is like the big strategy for health insurance companies to essentially get away with not paying for care. And again, everybody knows in this country, health insurance is a fucking scam. Well, the whole medical industry in this country is a scam. I don't know if I'm in the minority on this one because everybody likes to be like, well, you should see what's going on in Canada. When I lived in Canada, I had nothing but good experiences with the healthcare industry. I never had to use it much. I'll say that. I didn't have to use it very much. But when I did, 5 out of 5 stars. It was, I don't know how it could have been much better. But again, I'm, believe it or not, fairly healthy. Haven't had a lot of problems. He used a ghost gun, 3D printed. Look at that stick-to-itiveness, huh? Look at that ingenuity. printing his own gun. Back in my day, you had to go find a gun in the woods. And you didn't have suppressors. You had to put a potato on it. Does that work? Did I just see that in a TV show or something? Does a potato work? I don't know. But there's probably gonna be a big, and I don't know how you can regulate 3D printers because it's just a printer. They're gonna try to now. They're definitely, if you have a 3D printer at home, I guess file off the serial number on the thing. Can you do that? Is that gonna be illegal? Are they gonna have like a database of every 3D printer in the country? I don't know. It seems, there's been talk about all these ghost guns for, look, the guy printed a gun and killed the dude, so they work. They work. There are some theories that this guy took too many psychedelics. That was one thing. People think he maybe took too many psychedelics and just broke his brain, because a lot of his family and stuff are like, we haven't talked to him in a year. He had it. If you saw his Twitter account, which has gained, I believe, like 250,000 followers today, which probably sucks for him because he's like, damn it, I can't even use my fucking Twitter account. He had like 500 followers when the day started. Now he's 250,000, doing pretty good. Probably in the revenue sharing on Twitter now. Not gonna be able to tweet though, so that's a bummer. But he apparently was on psychedelics. He had, if you look at his heading photo on Twitter, there was a photo of him, one of the Pokemons. I don't know which one. Some sort of turtle or mushroom, I believe. Some of you dweebs will know the answer to it. And then there was an X-ray with all these, like, it was an X-ray of what appears to be him with a bunch of pins in his back. So he had some crazy back surgery, and they interviewed some guy who he knew. He lived on some weird hippie commune thing in Hawaii. I don't know about hippie, but it was like in Hawaii where all these people who were like remote workers went and basically lived in Hawaii, worked remotely. And the guy he's interviewing was like, I never knew he was violent or nothing like that. Never talked about guns, none of that stuff. But he did have this crazy back problem where like he tried to go surfing one time, and then he's like, he was in bed for a week. So his back was really fucked up. And from what I hear, you could have back pain. That shit could drive you to murder. Back pain's tough because it's like, where is even the thing? The back's just so big. It's just the back, Probably sounds stupid, but it's true. Crazy back pain maybe drove him to murder. He didn't like how the back pain was dealt with. But he got arrested in a McDonald's. Shout out to McDonald's. Good year for them. They got Trump. Now they got this, even though they did snitch on him. Someone who worked at the McDonald's saw him, and they go, the guy should have shaved his eyebrows. That was a big mistake he made, not shaving the eyebrows. He would have been unrecognizable because he was wearing a mask everywhere, like one of those, like, whatever, surgical masks, the COVID masks to cover his face, which is smart. But he had really, really obvious eyebrows. Like, they look like giant, thick-ass, like, I mean, the eyebrows that you would expect on a man named Luigi Mangione. But anyways, it is wild, and I'm sure there'll be many more developments. For people who are calling in, the phone lines are not quite open yet. This guy's gonna be killing it in prison, though. He's gonna have so many chicks sending him nudes, unless he might be gay. That's still unclear. He might be a homosexual. That I don't know about, but he's going to be killing it. He's going to have, man, you think the Night Stalker got so many nudes, but it's going to be, the problem is the nudes he's getting, big bush, not really hot chicks. A lot of bangs, a lot of pink banged women with huge bushes sending him photos and love letters and stuff. He's kind of like a modern day Unabomber. That's what some people are comparing him to. YouTube, do not give me a strike. I don't love the Unabomber. Unabomber was a bad guy. So is this guy. I don't want any trouble, YouTube. Last time we joked about the Unabomber, I got my fucking channel demonetized for life. So, and Taylor Lorenz, famously known for accusing people of raw dogging air last week, and that just refers to anybody who doesn't wear a mask. If you do not wear a mask, according to Taylor Lorenz, you were the same type of joy Kamala Harris had. It was the same joy. The joy that Kamala Harris brings, and the joy from a man assassinating a healthcare CEO. It's about the same. All right, on to Daniel Penny, and then we're going to open the phone lines. It's just going to be open lines, whatever you want to talk about. There's so much going on in the world. I don't know if I mentioned this. This is going to be the last episode of the year right now. But so Daniel Penny was acquitted today in what was probably one of the most objectively ridiculous trials in some time. There's not a lot of people, in my opinion, who really was like, this guy really needs to, like, if you've ridden the subway in this city for any amount of time, like, all you need to do is take the subway here every day for a week and you go, that man is a fucking hero. Because the shit that you are subjected to, and when I say shit, I mean that both literally and figuratively. There is human feces. I posted a photo last week that I had taken probably like 6 months ago. It was in Times Square Station. I got out of a train, Times Square Station, and there's like a tiled wall. You can go see it on my Twitter. And it's literally human feces in a giant handprint. It looks like someone leaned up against this tile wall, shit in their hand, and then smeared it on the wall. So you see a full handprint. And that is just the type of shit stuff that you have to deal with. But it's nice that he was exonerated. I don't know if there'll be protests. I don't know. Locked on the most serious charge of second-degree manslaughter. The judge then, it's been the whole thing has been weird too. The judge then dismissed the charge basically because the jury were like, we're deadlocked. We can't agree to it. He was like, can you please just talk about it more? They're like, we're deadlocked. Because there was probably one person on that jury who's like, yeah, I ride the subway. This guy's not a bad dude. Not a bad dude at all. So then the judge did something which, from what I understand, is pretty unprecedented. He dismissed the original charge of manslaughter, and he goes, hey, can you just please consider the charge of criminally negligent homicide? Where generally, from what I understand, is if the first one doesn't go, then they go, well, all the other ones we're not going to get him on the other ones. But he goes, and it kind of was like in a weird, unprecedented thing. And then he's like, you know what? Don't worry about the first charge of manslaughter. Just see if we can maybe arrive at something on the criminally negligent homicide, which I believe would have carried up to 4 years in prison. And they came, and he goes, we'll do it we'll come back over the weekend. Monday they come back and they're just like, no, come on. Right? So common sense one. Some people are not happy about this, as you can expect. I mean, you're never going to get a consensus on anything. You never will. The New York Black Lives Matter leader, I don't know what his name was, but he gave a little press conference outside afterwards. He was very unhappy with the verdict, saying there needs to be black vigilantes. People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud. How about we do the same? Now, not to be out of pocket, I guess you could say, but if that was the case, where people color for being loud, there would be a lot more dead people of color, and there would be the same amount of dead white and Asian people. Basically, I know that's maybe not the most politically correct thing to say, but that is just the case. I mean, look, when you're on the subway, you know, you don't want to profile people, but I've never seen an Asian person with a fucking speaker at full volume. I just never seen it. I've never seen it once. It's not a bias I have where I just don't notice it. I do notice it. And it's not just, it's various peoples of color. I don't want to pigeonhole one specific race into it because it's two specific races. But it's definitely not more than two. I'm trying to think. Is it more than two? No, it's two. It's two. Right? So, but we don't need vigilantes. I will say, I feel like I'm slightly more inclined to help someone on the train now who was in some sort of trouble. Not much more. Because it doesn't seem like they're like, hey, we lost this case, let's never charge someone for doing something like this again. Seems like they'll still do it. And it is, I think I brought it up when this thing happened, but the same week that the Daniel Penny thing happened with Jordan Neely, in New York, there was a black fellow. I don't remember his name. Someone was causing a ruckus on the train. This dude stabbed him up. They didn't press charges at all. They just let him go. They detained him and then they let him go. No charges. And you're like, it's a pretty similar thing. So maybe it would be a racial thing for me. I go, if there's a white guy who's giving people problems, I'll consider. It just seems a little too risky. It seems a little too risky, right? All right, the phone lines are open. It's open lines, guys. We're going to have a fun time. It's open lines. We're going to have a good time. Get those calls in. Before we do, as I mentioned, this is the last episode of the year. There's no after show tonight. I unfortunately have to film something early tomorrow morning, and got to be up early. So there's going to be no after show. We will have an episode of The Bathhouse, very likely tomorrow night. It should happen. I don't see why it won't, unless we have an issue with our filming stuff or whatever. But we should be good. And then so no episodes for the next few weeks. I'm just going to try and take the next few weeks and just try and figure out how I can improve this show and The Bathhouse, and just really just take some time, think about it, take a little time off, and just trying to do my best because, I'm working on the show a lot. It's not doing as well as I would like. Same with The Bathhouse. So I'm going to do that. And again, thank you for everybody who supports the show, whether it's leaving a comment, which you should do, or a like, or a review, or reposting on social media, or subscribing to the Patreon, patreon.com/lowvaluemail, MAIL. All of that stuff does help. All right, let's take some calls. One moment, please. Make sure. Hello. Oh, did it work? No. What the hell is going on here? Come on, guys.
SWB audio capture not registered.
To your phone. Hello, you're on Low Value Mail. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, this is Brian.
I'm retarded.
Can you hear me?
Hold on a second. I'm so stupid. I knew I forgot something. One moment, please. I got to do one thing here. I'm so stupid. Guys, this is just not for me. Hello.
Hey, Danny.
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
Hey, I'm calling over from Jersey. We're over by where all the drones have been seen.
Nice.
The last couple nights.
What is going on with these drones?
I haven't seen any yet. I do live right over by Trump's golf course.
Okay.
And
nice track. I've driven by it before. Looks like a nice course.
Yeah.
That's a Liberty?
Yeah, it's nice. Forget what it's called. It used to be
is that the one that used to be a
DeLorean?
Landfill? Or is that a different one?
I forget. I know DeLorean, the one that made the car from Back to the Future.
Gotcha.
Was that was his estate, and then Trump bought it and turned it into a golf course.
But so is that all the talk in
anyway.
New Jersey right now? Because I've been looking on, they're covering it on the news and stuff. Like, it's not like some weird Twitter thing. It's all in local news. There's there's hundreds of accounts of people seeing these drones.
Yeah, people really started going crazy with it the end of last week. Everybody started going out and looking for things at night. But a lot of the pictures are people just taking pictures of like a helicopter or an airplane because they don't really ever look up at night and don't understand, what there's so many airplanes going over. There are the couple videos I've seen though, they definitely don't resemble, a typical airplane or helicopter with the green and red and white lights on it. But everything around here pretty much have had that color pattern. It's like an FAA light scheme that you're supposed to have on all drones and airplanes and helicopters. So
yeah, but I
think there's a lot of
Yeah, I saw a thing where it was the like actual police, like some New Jersey, like whatever police were investigating it, and they were like, these things are, you know, like the FAA like doesn't know about them. They're not coming up on any radar or anything like that. And they're like, we're out here like investigating it, because like, so even like the local police, they're like, yeah, we haven't been told about. Because I think, you know, if, for example, if the president's coming in and they need to lock down the airspace, like the local police would know about it if they're like, you know, needing the airspace for something. So even the police are in the dark here.
I looked. I'm actually a drone pilot. I do drone stuff for work.
Okay.
And you can look up. There's apps that tie into the FAA system. Every drone in the last year. You're required by law to have a remote ID attached to the drone. So any type of like hobbyist or commercial drone pilot now should have like a transponder on it. And all these things are not, from what people have been saying, they've been testing it and there's no readout coming off of these drones. So they're either like military or somebody's just disabling, you know, found a way to disable the
but like
transmitters
that's dangerous
on the
to be flying drones in like airspace. Like, I mean, there's planes flying all around that, right?
Oh yeah. If there's anybody, it's very hard to do, especially now. Basically, any drone you go buy at the store, as soon as you turn the thing on, it forces updates on it, and it'll lock you out of a air zone like automatically. The drone won't even lift off the ground most of the time. Or
Right.
if you have it in the air. If you have it in the air and you get too close to one of those zones, the one I fly literally will stop, like there's an invisible wall in the air, and won't proceed to go forward. So I'm thinking it's just somebody, the ones with the lights on them, I don't know. I don't think aliens would be coming from a different planet and copying the light pattern that we have.
No,
on our
I don't
drones
think it's,
by law,
yeah,
but-
I don't think it's aliens. I'm just wondering like specifically what it is, only because the FAA is essentially saying like, we don't even know about this.
Yeah, it's real strange. There's a big giant reservoir south of here. It's called Round Valley Reservoir. And last night there was, for a couple hours, there was a guy on Twitter. I think I forget what his name was. It was something Bell, but he had video of it going for a couple hours, and him and sounded like a girlfriend drive around a car, and you could see it. They parked at the reservoir, and there's a state police helicopter patrolling the area, and it's shining a light. So they said it was shining a light on the drone, and the drone would come and go and disappear and turn its lights like on and off. But I have the right behind my house. It's the one of the airfields that the state police use, and I can verify that cops were definitely out last night because they were coming and going, lifting off like all night from the airfield behind my house.
Interesting. So you think it's a military thing?
Definitely
likely?
something. Is it? If you see them, if they have the lights on them, I'd say maybe they're doing a drill or something. I really don't know. It's strange. I did see a rumor. Last week. Somebody was tying it into. There's websites online where people post. I guess you could plug like a Geiger counter into like the computer, and it just constantly take readouts of an area. They were picking up high like radiation levels in the areas that some of these drones were seen in. So I don't know if it's like a chicken or the egg thing, like were the drones giving off radiation, or
do drones give off radiation?
No, not like nuclear radiation. No, they give off heat if they're up in the air, but they won't give off like radioactivity. Yeah, but
crazy,
very strange that they kind of correlated with radioactive readouts that you can look up
and it
online.
wasn't a
They
single
refresh.
day. Yeah, it wasn't like a single day thing. It was people were like, they keep coming back every night.
Yeah, it's the same areas. It's like Picatinny Arsenal, which is like an army. I think it's an army base. It's up north, and then they said McGuire Air Force Base, way down South Jersey. In the last 2 or 3 days, they had to actually scramble a couple like fighter jets to go patrol the area because they didn't even know what the hell it was. That's coming from somebody I work with. Told me that.
Right.
So who the hell knows? But
yeah,
there's definitely stuff going on.
Yeah,
lots of people with
I was on Twitter last night for hours trying to get to the bottom of this, and I really could not figure it out.
Yeah, nobody's got real good there's a couple of videos you see, but
I mean, there's something going on. I mean, I'm not saying that they're
Yeah.
like nothing. It's just there's something going on. I'm just like, what are they, and why don't the local police know about them?
Yeah, it's being very hushed up. There's been a lot of
I think that's
people
what's
are
kind
getting
of
pretty
yeah, like people are really just like, why won't you? Tell us what's going on.
Who knows what the fuck it is?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people at work. Let me one last quickie thing.
Go ahead.
I could definitely tell the last week has been really stepping up with people knowing about it around here, and just from going to work this morning and all throughout the day, there's a ton of people talking about it, and a lot of people were kind of freaked out by it. So
yeah, I mean, all it takes for them is to just come out and say that we're just testing out some drones, like the military is testing some drones out or something. You go, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it's weird. If it's meant to scare people, it's working, because a lot of people are freaked out. So.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of freaked out too.
Thanks
Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. By the way, sorry about that robot voice thing. I try not to look at the chat, and then that must have been super annoying because it probably was going on over and over again because I forgot to turn this fucking thing on. Because I don't know what I'm doing. Even 3 years into doing this show, I still just randomly forget to do certain things. That's probably why show's not doing so great. All right. Let's take another call here. One moment, please. Phone lines are open, everybody. 1-888-949-2969. Someone told producer Mark the local police had the FBI come in and take it out of their hands. Interesting. He also says, apparently Mark Norman and Joe List were at the dojo, saw the drones, and got really freaked out. Mark says changed the whole tone of the night for them. The other thing is the drones are over the Picatinny nuclear arsenal, which is a UFO hotspot. They've recovered a UFO there allegedly at Picatinny. All right, then. Hello. You're on Low Value Mail. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Danny. It's Charlie from Florida. How you doing?
Charlie from Florida. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing? I just want to I wanted to ask your opinion about the AI stuff. Like a lot of people are worried, obviously, about it getting out of control and stuff. But and I love your videos. Your interview videos are hilarious.
Thank you.
And I love those types of fake funny videos. But what freaks me out is that so many people seem to not still be able to tell what's real.
Oh man, my most recent one, the one I did, the Hawk Tua coin one, which you haven't seen it, you can go check it out on my YouTube. Yeah. That one is one of the most where people thought it was real. The responses to that are probably more than 50% of people are just don't and it got a million views on Twitter, and legitimately I would say more than at least half, way more than half on YouTube are just this guy's a fucking loser, serves him, all this shit. And
right,
yeah. So I mean, I've said it already. I'm using it for comedy purposes. People could certainly use this for purposes more nefarious, I suppose, and it could cause problems for sure. Because here's the thing: people watch my video and they just maybe my thing's not super serious, but I guarantee you, people are I saw on CNN this guy lost his whole life savings on Hawk Tua coin, and they just are telling it they're telling people it's real,
Yeah. There was a video that came out today that had Rosie O'Donnell apparently said she's I have herpes and I blame MAGA people for getting herpes. And if you watch the video, it kind of clearly looks like it's totally fake. But it seems that so many people believe that was real. And I don't know whether it was real or not, but there's so many of those that seem to be going around. And there was one of Destiny. Did you see that recently? Where
I didn't. There was one of them sucking dick.
No. There was one of him. I guess he said something about he hated all Republicans and that all conservatives should die or some shit like that or whatever.
Oh.
And it went viral. But if you watch the video, his mouth and face are all contorted and crazy, and everybody's why is his jaw moving like that? But if you watch
it's pretty easy to tell, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know if just because I make them and stuff, but I feel even if I didn't, you're if you just look at their mouth, you can tell that it's fake pretty easily. It just doesn't quite match up.
Yeah. And it's crazy. Like, I wonder, like, if there's any, like, I mean, what can people do? Like, if somebody took an interview and just, like, made you say things that you didn't say, there's not much, I guess, you could do about it except for, like, oh, yeah, I didn't say that. Yeah.
I mean, my cover is that it's covered under, like, satire parody laws. But, I mean, if you are, like, you know, not trying to make a joke, if you're just trying to ruin someone's reputation, I guess they could sue you for like defamation or anything like that. Like, I guess that would be the thing. But I guess the main concern would be, it's almost like, you know, as I'm talking about this, as you're talking about this, it's almost like one of the few things that the mainstream media actually could be beneficial for is that they would never actually publish this stuff. You're like, if you actually watch a thing on CNN, as much as that's a different type of lie, at least it's not going to be like completely fake in this sense.
Sure.
So, but again, they're just going to be lying to you in another way. But yeah, I mean, if I wanted to, I could make crazy shit that is straight up just, you know, Joe Biden, like, press release saying he's launching nukes or something. And I mean, I'm sure some people would believe it. It would get a community note, but even community notes, people don't read them.
Right.
Like, I could have a community note that says this thing's fake and people don't read it. They're just replying to it. They don't even know what that is. They're just like, yeah, it's beyond me what a community note even is. And then they just, they don't even read them. So I don't know. I mean, the best they could do is some sort of detection, like some AI that can detect other AI, which TikTok seems to have. Cause like I got banned on TikTok last week for an AI video and they seem to be able, and they seem to be able to tell that a video is, but not all of them. Like I posted some other ones and they can't tell. So, but the one I got banned for was specifically, even though I marked it as AI, they still banned me for it. It was weird because it was like the Wicked trail, like it was the Wicked interview where it was, what's her face, Ariana Grande and that other chick.
Oh yeah.
Not even like a political thing, and they still banned me for it. So, and
God,
I did,
that movie
and
was horrible.
Yeah, and I did. Well, I'm not gonna watch it, but I did even mark it as AI to not get banned, and they still just banned me. So, anyways, go follow my new TikTok. I have 17 followers now. Yeah.
That's initially, that's why I don't think it's really going to destroy like movies and things like that, because I think people can, like you said, tell pretty easily what's fake if they really watch it closely.
Yeah, people don't watch it closely. That's the thing, though, is people don't watch it closely.
Right.
People don't watch it close. People will like watch stuff while doing something else, so they're like kind of half watching it, especially if it's something on their phone. They'll like be listening to it. And I mean, the sound, it sounds pretty convincing.
Right.
So, but again, you know, when I'm making comedy videos, I'm like, I don't know if it's high stakes for something like that. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure someone could, I mean, some foreign adversary will be doing shit. And the question is like, how much damage can they do before like this, you know, the story can get out that it was fake?
Well, it's crazy too. Like even with like people that share videos from like 10 years ago, like sometimes they share like a tornado footage or like something that you Google and find that it's like 10 years old, and like so many people believe it right away. Like
I mean, so much of that shit with the Israel-Palestine thing where someone's like, look what they did, and you're like, this is like, it'll be like some bombed out city, and then it's, you go, this is from 15 years ago from some different country.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty frightening. That's just the thing that's kind of scary, is that people maybe don't do the work to try to find out if something's real or not right away.
Oh, hell no. Well, I mean, people don't do the same, you know, people don't do the work when they're watching a non-AI video and someone says something on some news and they just go, okay, that's what I believe now. And you go, well, you could look into that and find out that it's full of shit. People don't want to do that either.
Right.
I mean, people don't have time. Like, to be perfectly fair, people just don't have time to, you know, watch a thing on CNN or Fox or whatever and then go like do their own due diligence and investigation to make up their mind on it. It takes a lot of time. People have lives.
Time too. Right. Yeah. The other thing is, like, I guess it's kind of disturbing, like how people are getting more desensitized to just the idea of violence, period. They're just like, they seem like, you know, on one hand, it's like they don't do the research to find out whether something's true or not. On the other hand, it's like they don't care, because they're sort of desensitized to like all the crazy stuff going on. You know,
I mean, people were loving that CEO getting killed. People were like loving it.
he's like the Hawk Tuah of assassins, you know? Like,
kind of. That guy's like a celebrity. I mean, that guy's like became like a
sort of
overnight celebrity. Like legitimately.
He might
like
have a Netflix show in a couple of months. Who knows? You know.
I mean, he might have one like about him. I'm sure the wheels are in motion on that. But yeah, like he's
right. No,
I mean,
it's pretty wild. Well, it's wild if people get if they think that they're on the right side of something, like they don't really care, like what the person does. You know, it's just weird.
Yeah, like this dude has how many followers? He's at 229K on Twitter. He started the day at 500. So this guy's killing it.
I guess you didn't realize. People didn't realize too that McDonald's employees are the new police detectives.
Man, they're fucking. I guess when your face is plastered, like if you ever watch any of those shows or movies where there's a nationwide manhunt, you go, it's pretty hard to hide out.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people saying, of course, like with everything that happens, a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's a psyop. It's not real. He's not the real person, or whatever." You know, who knows what to believe anymore? But I mean, they got his picture everywhere, so it's got to be him. But
I mean, they found him with a 3D printed gun and a 3D printed suppressor and all this stuff. So it seems like very likely he's the guy. I mean, it's pretty hard to get away with a murder like that on video. Especially like, New York City, you have the largest police force in the country looking into it, and cameras absolutely everywhere.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I guess we'll find out what happens. But and the Daniel Penny thing is crazy too, because like you said, they're not going to please everybody, and there's always going to be people that don't like whatever outcome happens. But
yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you're, Brandon Neely's family, you're not pumped about it. But like, again, he was threatening to kill everybody on the train and saying he was willing to go to jail. You're
right.
Like, what the fuck are you supposed to do there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if I don't have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And,
you too.
Keep doing those videos. They're hilarious.
I will absolutely.
Take care, Danny.
Later.
See ya.
Guys, I know what a patsy is. I'm finding it hard to believe that this guy is a patsy, but yes, I know what a patsy is. All right, let's take another call. If you're on hold, stay on hold. I will get to you in order. So just stick it out. We will get to you. We will get to everyone on this open lines extravaganza. Only on low value. What a low value episode it was. I just had that robot going the whole time. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? You're on Low Value Mail. Who am I speaking with?
This is Patrick.
Patrick, what's up, man?
Not much. I had a comment and then a question.
Go ahead.
It seems as though the autistic history guy you had on a week or two ago has one out of 1,000.
One out of I know.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. Where I go, that counts as one. For people who don't know, what if Alt Hist, who was on last week, or no, 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago. Anyways, yeah, 2 weeks ago, he basically said there'd be 1,000 politically motivated deaths by April. This does count as one. It seems like, although I don't know if it 100% counts, because I don't know if this guy. Like this guy, if you look at his Twitter, he was following like all these accounts, like, Huberman and Tim Ferriss and like Chris Williamson, who are definitely not considered like left-leaning accounts by any stretch of the imagination. So it's hard to say that this guy was specifically like a leftist in any way, which was actually what I would have guessed originally. It seems like maybe he legitimately just had beef with the fucking healthcare industry over his personal experience. And he was just like, it was more like a villain arc, like a comic book kind of villain arc where he's just like, I'm going to go kill the CEO based on my own experience.
Yeah.
But I could see how it would count as one.
Okay. Yeah. That was my question, is if you'd still count it as one, but
yeah, we'll give him one. I mean, he needs 1,000. We'll give him the one.
Yeah. But yeah, no, but seriously, like regardless, that's how everyone else is taking it. I mean, what did you say? 229K followers on X or whatever?
Oh yeah.
Something
Like this guy's to many people, it's very much like they were saying. It's like a Robin Hood thing. Like this guy is like a hero to many people. Like they consider this guy to be legitimately a hero. So yeah, I mean, hey, look, the situation, I've thankfully never had to use healthcare in this country, but I pay a shit ton of money for insurance, like way more than I feel I should. And I probably don't even pay that much compared to most people. But like, you know, I do pay a lot, at least what it feels like a lot to me. And even still, like if I ever had to use it, I think I still have like insane deductibles and copays on top of it. Like all it really covers me for is if I have some sort of like, you know, $500,000 medical bill, I'll be covered on that. But anything just like normal price, I'm probably just going to have to pay for.
Right.
So I could see a lot of people being like, fuck this.
That makes me think just now what you said earlier about the Canadian healthcare system. You yourself said it was great, but have you heard from people you know, or just when you were in Canada, of like horror stories?
Honestly, I don't really know like horror stories per se. Like the closest thing is like, you know, my friend tore his like rotator cuff and he needed rotator cuff surgery. And because it's kind of like not first come, first serve. It's like they prioritized it. So he had to wait, like, I think it was like 6 months to get his surgery because they were like, this just like isn't that important for you to have your rotator cuff fixed. Whereas here, if you need a rotator cuff surgery, it would, you know, you could probably get it the next day or in 2 days or something like that.
For however much.
Yeah, but you'd pay for it, but you could get it. Whereas in Canada, and I know you can pay for some stuff in Canada, but no, not really. Like my parents, I've never really heard my parents complain about like the healthcare. I know there's like a big shortage of family doctors, but I think that's similar in America too. It's hard to get like a family doctor in a lot of places here as well. So yeah, I honestly don't know, but no, I've never my last interaction was right before I moved. I tore my calf muscle playing pickup basketball, and I had to get an ambulance because I couldn't walk at all. I had to get like an ambulance. I had, I can't remember if I had an MRI or an X-ray. I think it was an X-ray. They gave me like crutches, a walking boot, and I got a bill, and it was $45. That was all I paid. And I saw a doctor like literally within 20 minutes of getting to the ER. Like I saw a doctor right away, came back the next day, saw a different one. And like, so that was my experience. But again, I'm sure some people who have like crazy problems maybe don't have as good of an experience. But I mean, enough people have terrible experiences in this country. So I don't even know how to compare it. There's a million people in this country who are like, I had the worst experience because I don't have like the most expensive insurance. So I'm sure like like if you have unlimited money, no question, it's better to live in America. But I think for most people, I would say it's probably better in Canada. But again, I don't know. If people are listening right now and you have some experience with this, let me know. I mean, have you ever had to use? Well, have you ever had? Do you live in Canada or the U.S.?
No, I'm in the States. No, I haven't had any major stuff.
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, I don't know. For what you've had to do, was it fine?
Say that again.
Like for your uses of the healthcare industry, like was it a good, like you pay a ton of money for insurance, or do you have insurance with like through your work or anything?
Yeah, I have insurance through my work, so yeah, it's not bad.
Right. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, if people have any experiences, they can call in. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yes. One last question.
Go ahead.
So Nick Roche from MD was on
Rochefort?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was on the Boys Cast.
Yep.
Ryan was on Perfect Guy Life a few months ago. Mm-hmm. Any plans to have Sam and Nick on the Boys Cast?
If they were, you know what? They're like never in New York. But if they were,
Aren't
yeah,
they?
for sure.
They're in the north. They're in
Rhode Island,
though, right?
or no, New Hampshire.
Still?
Yeah, not Rhode Island.
Or
Yeah,
Rhode Island.
They're in New Hampshire. I mean, like they've
Yeah.
invited both of us out there. I know Ryan went because he had his special or whatever. But I mean, they've both invited us there. But for them to come do the Boys Cast, they would have to be here, and they're just like they're so rarely here. And I think when they are here, they're usually doing other podcasts. But I mean, we're not averse to it. Like we're both, you know. We're definitely friendly.
That'd be great. Hey,
yeah.
Send out that invite. That's all I'm saying.
Cool. We'll try and make it happen. Later, man.
All right. Well, hey, anyways, I want to say I love Low Value Mail. I know you're kind of feeling down about it, but we all love it.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone who loves it.
I look forward to it every week. So.
Thanks, man. I'm glad you do. Thanks, dude. All right, later. Yeah, I mean, I love doing the show. It's unfortunately not really working out. But who knows? Maybe we can figure something out. I don't know. All right, let's take another call here. Hello. You're on Low Value Mail.
Hey, what's up? You can hear me?
Yep.
Hey, what's going on, man?
How's it going?
Y'all talking about healthcare?
Yeah.
Yeah. Danny, I think I mentioned it here before. I got free healthcare.
You got free healthcare? Are you you doing an extra accent or something tonight? Sounds like you're really putting it on.
No accent. No. See, I have the privilege of being fluent in a language that is not Spanish.
Mm.
And plus, the time I did go, I left my phone and my wallet at home, and I was already drunk, so I could slur. So and you know, like the Slavic languages like Russian, Serbian, Polish, it's like a little mishmash. So
sure.
You can, yeah. So I got a free healthcare like that. Like if you want free healthcare and you're an American, you better learn some other language besides.
But I mean, here's the thing.
You know,
like that is such a misnomer because living in Canada, everybody's like, yeah, there's all these people in America who like don't have healthcare. Everybody here has healthcare. They don't turn anybody away for shit. Like it's such a fucking scam in this country because you're like, if you need healthcare, like if you need to go to like get healthcare, you can get it, and then you can just stiff them on the bill. They'll never come after you. Like nobody's getting healthcare. It might be worse healthcare.
See, Danny, the hack is 7 years. So if like for instance, how there are all these kids, you know, bitching about their student loans. I tell them, you know, shut the fuck up and pay your loan. Nobody forced you to take it. You know, I paid mine off real quick, real easy because it was Trump's economy.
Yep.
But what does it get? Yeah, just open a credit card, max the fuck out of it, paying off your loan, and then bite the bullet for 7 years.
Sure. Just go bankrupt is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, you know, hey, if you got free time, why not fucking defraud the government? I mean, fucking dude, I've been paying Social Security. I've been paying Uncle Sam for literally half of my entire life.
Sure. I mean, the reason healthcare is so expensive in this country, at least from what I understand, is because you're subsidizing the people who do pay for it are subsidizing all the people who don't pay for it. Right? There's tons of people who get shit and they just don't.
They're all fatzos who stuff themselves with Cheetos. My healthcare, you know what my healthcare insurance is, Danny? Exercising daily, eating nothing but animal products.
Yeah.
And getting all my sunlight. Like.
Yeah, I understand.
You know?
We're not talking about that. Like, obviously, yes, you take care of yourself so that you know. I think a lot of people who probably listen to this do.
And I don't want to take. And guess what? The people who don't want to take care of themselves, fuck off. Like I'm not.
They're not going to fuck off. They live in the most prosperous nation in the world that allows them to just sit on their fucking ass and eat Cheetos all day and drink Coke. And they're like, they're not. And then they get sick and they're like, they go and.
Dude, I seriously don't care. Kids can get free chop a dick off healthcare.
Yeah, and you're paying for it. How does that feel?
Look, I mean, there are kids. I would rather pay for a kid with cancer who can be treated versus some kid who's got a mom who wants to trans her son for a hobby and she's got a husband and a father of that child who's an absolute fucking gay lord retard. Like if I have to choose, yeah, treat the kid who had cancer, treat him, and then maybe he will develop to be a stronger person. Like, yeah, I beat cancer when I was.
Here they just let they do it for everybody. That's the thing, is here they're just like, yeah, we're gonna do the kid with the cancer, and we're chopping off the dick. And if you make, if you're middle class, you're paying for it.
Yeah, well, I'm out of the empathy game, bro.
I'm not saying be empathetic about it. I mean, the system is insane here, but like for everybody's always like, oh, Canada has universal healthcare, and they don't have. Yes, you do have universal healthcare in America. It's tiered for sure. I guess that's maybe the difference in Canada, is that there's no tiers of healthcare, but like nobody's getting denied for most healthcare shit here. The difference is if you're middle class, they fucking bankrupt you.
I think you need you're gonna have to like maybe use Brave browser, but go look at the statistics of the amount of Canadian healthcare being put forward to treating the inbred offsprings of all those brown people that are.
Dude, they literally in Canada, they're sending. There was I think I covered this story, but there was in Canada, there was a trans person who was, I think they were male to female trans, and they wanted to not only keep their penis, but they wanted to have a vagina as well, like some sort of real Frankenstein shit. And the only place that they could do that is in Austin, Texas. They couldn't even do that in Canada. So then they're like having a whole discussion about like, do we pay to have them do this surgery in a different fucking country?
Dude, I really don't. Dude, I don't give a shit about that. Look, Danny, to you and all the listeners and people listening, if you ever come across a trans, be very polite and ask them, are they frustrated? Are any of them frustrated with waking up with morning wood? They shut the fuck up right away. No, seriously. Ask a tranny if they're frustrated with morning wood. That's it.
What happens then?
Well, what do you mean what happens then? It's probably 3 o'clock and their 5 o'clock shadow stubble is showing. Like, no, seriously, they all look disgusting. Like,
no,
dude,
some of them are hot. Some of them look pretty good. You're lying. You're just lying.
No, I mean, look, I'll say Blair White, but the only service she does is, drain Alex Jones' balls. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, for anyone listening, you want free healthcare, figure out how to not recognize English. Like, I could turn my ear off and not recognize English. Like, I can do that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, probably if you just show up and pretend.
When I was in the ER, they even had an officer come over, and the shit he was saying, it was like, I knew he was talking as if like, I'm gonna try and say something to see if like he'll perk up and get worried. I'm like,
but then what happens? Like if they can prove that you like are an American who speaks English, then they're just like, we just need someone.
They can't.
But if they could, are they trying to do that just so they can bill you? Like, is that it?
They can't. Danny, all I bring is my keys.
Yeah.
I bring my keys to my house. Everything I leave in my house.
Right.
Like, that's it. Like, yeah.
And then what? They treat you and they just discharge you?
Yeah.
I mean, there you go. Good system.
Yeah, and they're like, well, who do we contact? And all I do is I pull up their phone and I go to their maps and I find the U.S. State Embassy in Washington, D.C. because it's geography. Geography is universal, and you can find Washington, D.C. on the map. So I'm like, I just zoom in on the U.S. State Embassy.
Sure.
Click on that shit.
All
yeah.
Right.
And then lastly, what is it? Hey, first of all, congratulations to Mr. Daniel Penny. Justice prevailed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pumped about that. I was going to be not happy if he was found guilty. That would have been an absolute miscarriage of justice.
Danny, so here's the thing. Now you have to pick up the yoke. You're a big fella, my man. We met. You're a big dude. Yeah, and I don't take you for being a pussy.
Oh, I'm a pussy.
I mean, dude, That's not an American attitude, Danny.
Hey man,
Can't you
I'm
have
not
that
intervening
attitude?
on the fucking subway, dude. You don't like. I don't know if you've ever ridden the New York City subways. It's fucking zoo down there. It's crazy, man.
I actually did.
There was some
I
comic.
did ride it
This
once.
comic Cam Leedy actually the other day literally videotaped. He was on the train and this dude was like on the train. He was like passed out with he was like laying on the bench, passed out with his ass facing into like the aisle and just like took a shit. It's fucking Sodom and Gomorrah down there.
Well, what it is now it's like come to a headway where, dude, I've had to ride like a few buses today, just from work, just because I was having to run an errand after work. There are a lot more loud black people, and I think they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot.
Yeah, that just started today.
I think they're trying to antagonize, bro. Especially
In
these
Texas?
blacks.
Texas is different though, because the thing is in Texas, you're like everybody has guns. I feel
Oh,
like
no,
there's
Danny,
higher
Danny,
level of civility down there.
You know where I live. I live in the fag capital. I live in Fagston, Texas.
Yeah.
So, you know, people are a little more light-handed with the gloves down here. So, yeah, I think it almost seems a little coincidental, you know, this whole CEO shooting and the Penny case where they're like trying to antagonize people to take action into their own hands before January. It almost, you know.
I mean, here's the thing. There's a lot of people who have probably want to take shit in their own hands in New York, but you're just like, everybody knows the justice system here is not going to go towards it's going to go towards the aggressor here. Like, you know, basically because the aggressor is always some mentally ill homeless person almost like all the time. And then, you know, in terms of the hierarchy of victims, they're like, yeah, they're pretty high up there. They're like, you know.
I mean, dude, I even saw intersectionality today. There was a clearly schizo obese black woman just talking loud into the air on the bus. A fucking illegal just was yelling at her to shut the fuck up. I think it was the only
True
English
American.
words he knew. Oh no, he was fucking dirt. He had flies flying around him. And he'd been living on the street for a week, but he was fed up with this black bitch.
Man,
you know,
sometimes you just need some peace and quiet. People reach their fucking breaking point when they just can't get a little peace and quiet somewhere, you know? All right, I got to let you go, man. We got so many callers, but thanks, Slav. Slav, everybody. All right, let's go to Pablo here. He's been waiting patiently. Still can't believe I didn't fucking turn on that goddamn plug-in thing. Hello, Pablo.
Hello, Pablo here.
What's up, man?
How's it going, Danny?
How are you?
Doing good. doing great. Ready to talk about healthcare. And might I say, racist Slav really does, you know, live up to his name.
Yeah. Yeah. He's quite racist.
Yeah. Either way, listen. This whole, you know, the talk about healthcare. I've been saying for years that insurance in general, is a scam. And I'm ready for people to start realizing that insurance is such a scam. And people regularly argue with me, saying like, "No, people need insurance." I go, "No, they don't. It's a scam on both ends. Where you're trying to scam the insurance company by getting as much as possible out of them. They're trying to get as much out of you as possible without giving you jack shit. It's a scam on both ends. It just needs to end."
Yeah. But again, it's like, you know, you're talking about a country of 350 million people. You can't just snap your fingers and overhaul the entire system. Now, if everybody just decided, you know, maybe if everybody just decided they were like, hey, nobody's going to have insurance. But I mean, the thing is, a lot of employers provide insurance. That's how they basically get their fucking hooks into you, and you can never quit. It's because you're just like, I need this insurance.
But the problem with not government, with health insurance is that it's the exact same as like a private health insurance. They're still trying to fuck you over.
Yeah.
Here, my workplace where I work, a guy got injured on the job, got the insurance, and then the insurance sued him for the money back. And
Why?
He, you know, ended up suing the company. I think they said that he used that he wasn't like what the fuck, what did they say, that like it was a job injury and therefore wasn't covered by insurance, even though they're supposed to cover job injuries.
Oh, like workplace comp is supposed to cover it or something?
Yeah, something like that. But it's all them. No, but the insurance company also covers workplace comp. So I don't know what it was. Either way, he ended up suing the company, got and won I think like $180,000, something like that.
Yeah.
A pretty big chunk of change. But it's all a scam on every part. I've been saying this for years, and now I'm a person who believes in capitalism in the free market, but I am also a person who says, hey, there's a lot of people here who do need medical, and we just can't leave people to die on the streets. That's not what an advanced society does. So I'm ready for some type of hybrid of private and public health insurance, government-sponsored health insurance, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
I mean, doesn't that exist though?
It does exist, but I'm just saying I want the insurance part of it gone.
Yeah. I mean, again, like the model in Canada, I guess, is pretty good. And again, there are a lot of Canadians who have money who, if they need like an MRI, like they will go fly to or drive to the United States and just pay cash how much that costs, $1,000, $2,000, and just get an MRI.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like, again, I don't really know. I saw Martin Shkreli tweeted about it in regard to this CEO thing. And he's like, most HMOs, their profit margins are less than 10%. So he's like, it's not even really the HMOs. It's the whole medical system that's billing so much money, because it's not like you look at these insurance companies and they're just fucking printing money. Like they do well, but they're giant corporations. But he's like, it's not like they have, these insane profit margins. They still have 10% profit margins. It's not like that crazy. So he's just like, well, all that money's because the hospitals and the whole system is just billing so much money. So then you're like, but they're all, it's all intertwined. Like, it's not like you can just fix one element of it.
Yeah, I get that. And one of my major arguments is that part of the problem with insurance and it being a scam, whether you're talking about like health insurance or even like car or house insurance, is that the government mandates that you have some type of insurance, right? If you don't have like a private or a job sponsored insurance, you end up having a government sponsored insurance. And I go, if the argument is that if people didn't have insurance, they wouldn't save that money for emergencies, they would just spend it, then we should just have some sort of make the same requirement for like health, like savings plans or something like that, where
you can't you can't force people to save, dude. You can't do that. The IRS doesn't, even if you're like self-employed, they don't even let you keep all your money, because they know that if they let everybody keep all their money that they made from their business, come tax time, there's going to be fucking a huge percentage of people who are just like, I don't have it. I spent all my money. I'm sorry. And then they're not going to get their money. So you're not going to force people to save money. Maybe you can incentivize them somehow. I know there's those like newfangled kind of insurance companies that exist where you're like, you pay in and then we'll just cover your bills kind of thing. Like they have these like new, it's like not really an insurance company, but it's like some sort of, you pay into it and then they're like, we'll just, everybody who's ever had a claim, we pay, but it's not insurance. Sounds like insurance, but it's not. I can't remember what it's called. But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's the thing is, this thing is so complex. There's so many people who are like want the whole system to remain exactly as is because they make so much money.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, I agree. I agree. It is a scam.
That's my own little rant about that. I won't take any more of your time, Danny.
Right,
love
cool.
the show. Hope you keep doing it, man.
Thanks, Pablo. Pablo, everybody. I hope I keep doing it too. I will say that. I think producer Mark wanting to say something. This isn't. You can't fucking hang up on Low Value Mail. This isn't the bathhouse. Okay, it's a different show. Completely different show. All right, let's take another call here. All right, just stay on the line. I will get to you. I promise. I will get to you. All right, who we got here? Please, unmute yourself quickly. You don't need to take so long. Hello, you're on Low Value Mail. Who am I speaking with? Hello, what's up?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Danny? Hey, Danny, what's up, man? I'm a big fan of the Boys Cast. But,
thanks, man.
Yeah, so, hey, man, I grew up in Portland, Oregon, the most liberal hippie place ever, right? My wife is her parents are from Africa or whatever. So she moves to New York to go to school there, to NYU. And the first day I show up, the guy on the subway starts screaming, some crazy dude starts screaming at me that I'm a racist.
Sure.
And I'm like,
what
what the
were
hell?
you doing? What racist thing were you
standing
doing?
with a black woman, bro. I was guilty of standing next to a black girl. And so,
like that.
and then I stayed there for like 2 years playing music, writing it late at night, the subway, like 1 a.m., crazy stuff. When I saw that Daniel Penny guy get locked up for that, I was like, I thought just like you did, like this dude is a hero because the psycho, just the rats alone, crawling up and down the steps, they're like fellow citizens. It's like crazy on the subway.
Yeah.
Just complete insane. So, but anyway.
Dude,
that's
I mean,
just my little story.
it's fucking wild. Dude, I know there's a comic, Doug Smith, this comedian who, this was like probably 10 years ago, I think. But if you ever see a photo of him, he was on Ari's show, This Is Not Happening or whatever, but he has like a scar across his face like this because he was on a subway platform at like 4 a.m. and some dude was trying to rape a woman and he went and intervened and the guy pulled out a fucking box cutter and just slashed him across the face. I know another comedian, this guy David, this was probably 6 months ago. This guy lives in Coney Island, fell asleep on the train at like 2 a.m. going back to Coney Island. Big no, never fall asleep on the train late at night.
No.
And he fell asleep on the train going to Coney Island, or he passed out. He was drunk, but he passed out. And he literally woke up to this dude literally slashed him across the eye with a box cutter right under his eye, right under his eyeball. Thankfully, and the dude was just like, "Give me your phone." And thankfully, like he, missed his eye, and it, he doesn't even have like a scar now. Crazy enough, like you can't even see the scar, I guess, because where it is on the face. But it's like I know 2 people. What are the fucking odds? I know 2 people personally who have been slashed on the face in the New York City subway.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes those kids dancing and stuff, it would freak me out because they'd be spinning around and like their shoe comes within an inch of some old dude's face. And you have to kind of like, as just a normal person, like ignore them because it's like you're watching a toddler play near a stove.
Dude, I know this might be on brand for me and maybe I'm a fucking curmudgeon or what, but I get so pissed off when people give those guys money. I know those guys are just hustling and New York City's like the city of hustlers and everybody's just trying to hustle and just live and whatever. But you're like, when someone gives those guys $5 and I'm just like, they're never going to fucking stop doing this bullshit. And it's usually a tourist and this tourist, they pull out their phone. They go, this is so neat. Like, look at this. They're dancing in the subway. Go, no, we all hate this shit. Literally, we all fucking hate it.
One time this guy was asleep on the train and we were going over to Brooklyn. I was riding by myself and everybody was avoiding him because he was sleeping on like a whole area and he looked like his skin was like, he looked like Ashy Larry, like completely chalk dust, covered in like, some Publix or some like, I don't know, some newspaper. And everyone thought he was dead and was like sitting away from him. I heard like this girl go, I think he's dead. And then the dude pissed his pants.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy goes, nope, we got a live one.
Dude, I
told my girlfriend, man, that is crazy.
Dude, I remember when I moved here, I saw a guy walking around. This was not in the subway. This was outside, but he was walking around and he was like, looked like he had something wrong with him for sure. And he had, he was wearing gray sweatpants and his sweatpants were tucked into his socks because it was kind of cold out. It was probably like fall. Nice. And he was walking around and one of the pant legs at the bottom was just full of shit. Because he was shit while he was walking, and then it didn't have any way to like escape his pants because they were tucked in. So then just literally his ankle area was just like a bulge of shit. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? But
he was trying to keep his foot warm.
I guess he seemed literally like the most unbothered person. Like it didn't even register that you're like, dude, your whole pant leg's full of shit right now. Nothing. He's just walking around totally normal, or at least normal.
I was like living in Harlem in this like little tiny apartment for like $2,000 a month. Well, a room And all the people I lived with, they were like older 50s and stuff, black guys. And they were like, you walk around at 1 a.m.? Damn, I'd get my ass beat. And I was like, well, no, I mean, no one really bothers me because I look like a broke musician. But it was just like, they were amazed I'd go to the bodegas late and walk around because I was, you know, I couldn't get a job washing dishes because all the guys would tell me, oh, the Hispanics got it locked down. You can't get a job. In the service industry, don't even try. So I, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy living there. I don't know how you guys do it, man. I had to get out.
It's not my favorite.
Bro, I live in Mississippi right now, bro. I live out in the middle. Oh, dude, I live in this tiny little place called Picayune. It's literally like a dot 50 miles from New Orleans, and everybody has shotguns in their rearview mirrors. My dad's from here. So it's like I went from there to here, and I know you comics got to chase your money and your grease, but man, I had to get away from that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's too expensive, and it was craziness just seeing that. Like some lady got pushed on the tracks while I was there, and I didn't see it. It was just while I was there, and my wife was like, "Oh, you can't go out. You're gonna get killed." And I was like, "I'm not a white girl. I don't have anything they want. I mean, maybe your friends got slashed, but I don't know. It was really crazy."
Yeah. I mean, it's real luck of the draw thing, but like people jumping in front of the trains, that's so common here. Like, I can't remember when it was recently. I was trying to go into the city and I couldn't. And the guy was just like, yeah, someone jumped in front of the train again. He's like, there's no trains.
Why am I laughing?
And then I'm like, all right, great. It takes me fucking an hour and a half to get home. But I guess I got to be like, well, someone did die. But it wasn't someone pushed in front of the train. I remember living in Toronto, and I had a friend who worked at the Toronto. His dad worked for the Toronto subway, and he's like, every time there's like a train malfunction or whatever, like track issue, it's always because someone jumped in front of the train. But they don't want to tell people that it's people jumping in front of the train because they don't want people to realize how many people are actually committing suicide by train. So they give some other story. They're like, yeah, it's like a whatever track problem. But like every time,
the first version of this. Is that the first version of the suicide pod they have up in Canada?
Kind of, yeah. That's the OG one. But like literally, they just like that's the story because I think they say suicide's like contagious, and so if everybody figures out, oh, it's really easy, you just hop on the train and bam, you're done.
I mean, but is that really what it is?
Like, I think that's the actual.
Like,
I think that's honestly.
Died. I want to die.
Yeah, I honestly think that's what the theory is that if they keep telling, if every time someone jumps in front of a train, they say, yeah, someone jumped in front of a train again, and then you're like, several times a week or even a day, I don't know how often it's happening. They're like, yeah, someone jumped in front of the people just.
Well, there's a bridge in Portland that's by that Burnside skate park, that famous one, and they had a problem with that bridge because I guess once every other day someone would jump off right into the Columbia from there, and it was like, high enough up where you die, I guess. So I guess I understand. But they would tell us because in Portland they wanted us to be depressed. They were like, yes, be depressed. You suck.
Yeah, here it's just like they just don't want you to know there's such an easy way out of all of this. The easiest way out, just fucking
I don't know, man.
Trip on the tracks.
It's crazy there. I'd never felt so like the old your mom lives in a 2-story Cheerio box joke. It was like I felt like that in real life. Like everybody was packed in, and then you're on the train, and you're like, was some crazy guy gonna like come on here and do something, and we're all trapped on here with this shit? Just
all the time.
Dancing was enough.
All the time, man. They just installed these little like Japanese style like rails. So like now the trains, like there's like these metal barriers. So the trains, like when they open, you can only get through by going through like, the metal barrier. But you're like, this isn't going to stop people from getting pushed on the tracks. So you're like, I guess some people, but you're like,
no,
you can still easily push someone on the tracks if you want to.
Short people, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
or it'll be just easier because then they fall over backwards on the barrier.
Exactly.
Like
they just go ass over
it's not gonna stop.
Yeah, it's not going to stop. All right, dude. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
Okay. Take it easy, bro. Keep rocking.
Well, thanks, dude. By the way, I've seen some comments about having this unlicensed thing. I don't have an unlicensed thing. I pay for it. I forgot to turn it on. It's not unlicensed. It's the same thing I use every week. I pay for it. I just forgot to turn it on because I'm a fucking idiot. I apologize for that. All right, let's take another call. If you're on the line, stay on the line. We shall get to you. It's only $12 a year. I pay for it. Hello.
Hey, Danny.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I'm a big fan of the Boys Cast.
Thanks,
my
man.
first time calling in.
Nice. How's it going?
So I'm super excited that people aren't as sad about the guy getting shot.
You're excited. So you're pro CEO assassinations?
Oh yes, more of it. Let's
More
go
of
back to Bolshevik executions of nobles and.
See, I think I understand the sentiment that you have. I think the problem is what that devolves to in terms of society-wise. I think that you go down a bad path if everybody kind of agrees with that. But I understand what you're saying.
Everybody doesn't have to agree. Only a small portion of society has to agree to be able to affect everyone.
Sure.
Everyone. It only took a few people to chop the heads off of the French nobility.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it worked out pretty well for the poor for a little while. I
For
mean,
a little
it wasn't
while.
forever, but the nobles came back. And here's the thing: I'm ready for a revolution of some sort. I don't know.
Interesting. I mean, it is funny. All the healthcare companies, they like removed all their executives off their websites. You're like, you ever heard of a thing called the fucking Wayback Machine? It's like you can go find we can find out who your executives are at your health insurance companies. But yeah, I mean, I honestly think you're in the majority. In this.
Well, here's the thing that people pay into their health care and then don't use it.
Mm-hmm.
You
Well,
don't
that's
get that money
that's just
back
what
if you
insurance
don't
is, though.
use it.
Well, that's just
Yeah, but you
the
don't get
nature
that-
of insurance.
So when you explain to a 28-year-old why they should pay insurance for something that it just doesn't make sense. It's just like throwing my money away. I'm healthy right now.
I mean, here's the
Why are
thing.
you taking
Well,
money out of my check?
are you somewhere where you by law have to have insurance, or they like penalize you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, $600 if you don't have health insurance.
$600
you
a
don't
month
get to-
or a year?
Yeah. No, a year. If you don't have health insurance, you're charged $600 in your taxes.
That seems
it's
like a
added on.
good deal. I mean, you're kind of getting shaken down, and I agree that on principle that's fucked up.
Yeah,
but
because I still didn't see a doctor.
yeah, I mean,
$600.
yeah, it is a bit of a scam in that sense. Like you should be able to, but I guess their whole thing is, they know it's such a scam, and they know that like, hey, people who don't have insurance like can still get health care, and then that just all that does is increase the premiums for people who have insurance. But like the main issue I think is people are like, yeah, I have insurance and I'm still not covered. Like that seems to be a lot of people. They're like, yeah, I do have insurance. I pay a fortune for it. And then when I need something, they were like, yeah, this isn't covered. Sorry.
Yeah, I know people who pay up to $8,000 a year, and they.
Dude, I know.
See them, and you're like, you look sick. You don't look healthy.
I know a comedian. Him and his wife and his daughter. He pays $2,500 a month in New York City. He doesn't even live in New York City.
Yeah,
Actually, he lives in New Jersey. $2,500 a month.
Yeah, no, I think the system is completely broken. You have someone paying $2,500 for a Tylenol that would cost you $13 if you buy it yourself.
$13?
Yeah,
It wouldn't cost you $13. It cost you fucking 13 cents.
Well, I live in California.
One Tylenol's $13 in California? What's going on
well,
there?
when you buy them individually, yes.
Who buys individual
California's getting
Tylenols?
ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Crackhead.
An entire bottle of Tylenol is like $8 or something here. $13 for yeah. But I mean, I understand. So who else? Not to get me in too much trouble here on YouTube. Who else do you think they should send a message to in the CEO department?
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. Bill Gates has. You ain't touching Gates. That guy's got security
he's
out the ass.
Well, he's somebody's pet. He's definitely somebody's pet. If you know, if they're telling you that the richest man is who the richest man is, that's not the richest man.
The richest. I've said this forever. The richest man in the world, the top 50 richest men in the world, they're not on a fucking list. Okay, like the real richest people in the world, they are not on the Forbes richest people in the world lists. They are so much richer than those people. They do not want to be known, and they're not on any lists.
If you know their name, they're not, obviously not that important.
I mean, they're important, but they're not the richest people. Like, there are people who make Elon Musk look poor who we just don't know about.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like when they put El Chapo on the list of Forbes' wealthiest billionaires, it's like, oh no, that was just to put a target on his back.
Yeah. I mean, he probably had a target on it regardless. But so you're pro-violence. You think that this is a good solution temporarily. You cite the kind of French Revolution.
I'm pro the violence that's been enacted on the people.
Yeah.
Through the use of using their health care as a cudgel. I recently saw Dana White say in I don't remember what podcast he was on, but he said he'd never in his entire life ever go to a doctor again if it wasn't for trauma.
Yeah.
That's the only reason he would ever go to a hospital again. And I think I'm going to live by that now. I'm going to try my hardest to be healthy and hopefully I don't get in a car accident or anything, but that's the only reason I would go see a doctor.
I mean, I agree. Like, here, unless I'm super sick, it's funny because in Canada, because you can there's no cost to go to the ER. And that's kind of just like, if you're sick and it's, 10 PM, you just go to the ER. Like, even if you're like, I'm just feeling dizzy or I have a really bad cold, that's just like everybody just goes to the ER. But because you don't get charged for it, people just go all the time. You're like, you could be a hypochondriac and you're like, yeah, I just go to the ER all the time because there's no cost associated with it. I mean, some people are just lonely. They literally say that some people are literally just lonely and they just go to the ER.
Yeah, when I worked in an ER when I was 19, and it was a lot of that. It was a lot of drug seeking and a lot of people who were lonely.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to, where did I go? I can't remember where, with a friend, and it was a lot of like just drugged out people. I remember there's this one guy who like his friends brought him in and he's like, they're like, you hit your head? And he's like, I didn't hit my head. And they're like, yeah, they were like, sounded like they were just drinking all day. And then they're like, yeah, you hit your head pretty bad. And he's like, I didn't hit my head. And then he like wouldn't stay and he just left. But it was, it was a bit of a shit show there. All right. Well, it's good to know how you feel on the topic. Anything else you want to add?
No, that's everything. Just
all right.
Watch your back if you're a CEO.
I appreciate it. Later. Me and Mark didn't say that. That is not us. All right. We're going to take some more calls. Stay on the line. Oh, man, we got a lot of callers tonight. Hoo boy. We will get to you all. We'll get to you because there's no after show tonight, so I'll get to you all. Hello. You're on Low Value Mail.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I just wanted to call in response to the previous, seemingly commie guy who called in just about medical stuff.
Yeah.
Truthfully, medicine is about value added and cost, given for that. Truthfully, in Canada and the UK, they have the same issues we have here. I mean, there are services they offer and there are costs and there are effectivenesses of that and all that. I don't know. It sounds like the guy who shot the guy in the other, in his back, was a Reddit communist. And
I don't think he was a communist. If you look at his Twitter followers, because his Twitter is up again. It got taken down, but now it's got put back up. But if you look at his followers, that's not the kind of guy who if you look at his photo, he has an X-ray with all these like pins in his back, and it seems like either he is maybe misguidedly blaming the healthcare industry for not being able to fix his back, which was just causing him constant misery, or I don't know. I mean, I'm sure we'll maybe find out what the deal was, but it's unclear.
I would be interested. It sounds like he had surgical issues or whatever, and then went into, maybe alternative care to that.
Yeah, and he was doing some alternative stuff.
With pain.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't, the back is the one too. You're like, you just can't do anything. Like you can just, and he was young. He's in his 20s, and there was an interview with some guy, and he's like, yeah, he was in bed for a week because he tried to surf. It's kind of like demoralizing. where you're like,
Yeah, I mean, I empathize with him. I just.
No, I'm not saying he should go murder the CEO.
the guy.
That is not what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah. I'm not saying that.
No, but unfortunately, some people are or whatever. Also, I just hope we can appreciate we have the best technology in the entire world here, and
by far,
many of us are trying to improve it.
Do you work in healthcare in some capacity?
Yeah, on the research side.
Oh, okay.
And it's I don't say healthcare is difficult. It's impossible to get everything right and to always be, improving things. But I guess on average, things have improved.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like the lifespan of people in this country, although I believe the lifespan of people in this country has actually declined relative to other nations. But I think that's more not so much healthcare as just people do not take care of themselves and eat like shit in this country. And
I tend to agree.
Yeah, and maybe just like the health like innovations or whatever just can't outpace how badly people are taking care of themselves. But yeah, I don't know. Like, what's the one thing you would fix in the healthcare industry as someone who's like somewhat, involved, I guess, to some degree?
And again, I'm on the research side, so I don't exactly encounter the billing stuff, directly.
I mean, I think everybody can agree when when you see a bill and it says they itemize every Tylenol and they're $100 a piece, like there should be no reason for that. I understand even the rationale behind that is because
that is what motivated me to call in. Funnily, those are some of the things that research-wise we think are.
And I know that's crazy, but from what I understand, the reason why hospitals charge that is because when they go to an insurance company, the insurance company negotiates those rates with them. Like basically they go, this is what you owe. And the insurance company's like, we're not paying that. And they essentially end up negotiating it down to a normal rate, like whatever, $2 a pill is what they negotiate. But if they started at $2, then the insurance company would basically negotiate it down 10 cents. So they're like, we have to bill it as these crazy amounts. So it seems like the whole system is broken. And then regular people go and they're like, well, I don't have insurance. And they're like, well, it's $100 a pill.
No, it's like a Turkish bazaar or something.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. So yeah, I definitely agree that art is messed up.
Yeah. So again, I don't know. Maybe
availability. I mean, I do think we produce innovation here. I think that's objectively true.
No question. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's other things. There are a lot of limits to getting more doctors seeing patients that could be lifted.
Sure. And I mean, again, America could, obviously, I'm sure they don't want to like depress the wages of people in healthcare, but you're like, you could bring in doctors from all over the world pretty easily who are very qualified and have them working right away if there's like some sort of shortage of doctors. But, doing so might depress their wages, and maybe they don't want to do that. Although I wonder if Donald Trump, with all the crazy shit he's got planned for the next 4 years, will do something with this, because he's got a lot of crazy stuff planned with everything else.
I mean, if anybody wants improvements in anything, talk to Dr. Bhattacharya, who's likely to be that NIH head. He is a smart guy, and truthfully, you just have anti-establishment people who will be in position. So if you have anything you want to do, talk to him.
Yeah, I mean, he was actually supposed to come on this show. I'd been talking to him about about being a guest on this show, crazy enough, and he said he was going to come on.
That would be really cool.
Now I think that ship has sailed. Now that he's going to be the head of the NIH, this might be a little too high value to have the head of the NIH on this show. But he was I talked to him a bunch because he's actually just a big comedy fan, and he had messaged me about comedy stuff, and then I was like, hey, you want to come on my show? And he's like, yeah, if I have some time, I'll come on. And I've spoken with him a bunch, and he said he'd come on, but now I think that ship's probably sailed.
I mean, it's funny, medical scientists, like PhD level, professor level, very unbuttoned people, like a lot of, interesting backstories or whatever, take that for what it is. I think that field got a bad rap from the last 4 years.
Oh, for sure.
A good representation of this field.
I mean, he's like he's like a head of a lab at Stanford, and they kicked him off of Twitter for his opinions about COVID. They basically digitally tarred and feathered him, and he's like, I'm not some quack. Like, I am a highly respected Stanford.
I
Go ahead.
think it was crazy too.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah,
but
no, I agree.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, we'll see if they can fix some of this stuff. Anything else you want to add?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you for calling in. Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get Dr. J on here, unfortunately, but who knows? Hello, you're on Low Value Mail. Who am I speaking with?
What's up, Danny? This is Bryce.
Bryce, what's up, man?
Hey, so I just want to say, like, so the guy 2 guys ago, like, killing health insurance, CEOs is not going to solve anything.
Who should we
And
kill then?
That's the kind of shit that. Well, I've seen people everywhere talking about, we need to send a message to the health insurance people, and the CEO, him getting shot was a good thing, and yada yada yada.
Yeah, no, I agree. That is honestly deranged to be like. Again, it's
right.
If everybody's pumped about CEOs getting killed, I know what he's saying with the French Revolution. I understand his point, but I'm like, you don't want your society to devolve into just vigilantism. And again, like, this isn't going to solve anything. All that's going to happen now is that all these executives are going to have private, like, Blackwater security, and that money is just going to be passed on to everybody that pays premiums. So you're now just have another expense as someone who has an insurance policy. That's just a new expense, and you're paying for it. But they're not going to stop. Like, you think if there's just going to continue on like this? Like, no chance. I mean, if they get one more, then you're like, these guys are going to be locked down.
Yes. If you want to live in a third world country, please keep encouraging people to murder executives of companies that you don't like.
Yes.
That is the way this goes. If you want to live in Guatemala, then continue doing that. I want to make it clear. So the problem is not insurance. And just let's take a minute to acknowledge, like, this guy was just, like, he had a family, he had kids, like, now he's dead.
Yep.
And his kids are going to grow up without a father. Like, these are
not only
people
without a
that
father, they're going to go look at the online discourse and be like, everybody thinks the guy who murdered my dad's a hero.
Exactly.
Like, what does that make you think? You're like, oh, is my dad like a bad guy?
I saw some Twitter, and it was some account, some right-wing account is like, yeah, this guy, Brian Thompson, went to the prestigious high school of, like, whatever, like, middle of Iowa town he was from high, and he graduated from the prestigious University of Iowa State University. Like, so anyway, like, this guy.
Yeah, this dude, like, started as, like, 30 years ago as, like, an adjuster or something. He, like, literally started in, like, an entry-level position and just worked his way up to CEO. Like, kind of truly the American dream. And again,
exactly.
it's...
So if you...
Yeah, go ahead.
If you're calling for people like him to just be murdered, you're either too retarded to understand what you're saying, or you're just evil. Those are the only 2 options.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people
so
have some giddiness of the whole thing where they go, they like people. It's similar to how Trump's shaking shit up. Like, Trump's like, he's got Kash Patel going and leading the FBI. And, like, I'll admit I'm kind of like that, where I'm like, oh, this is, like, exciting. Like, this guy wants to burn this whole thing to the ground. Like, what's that going to look like? And I think this is the other side of that. I mean, no, they're not going to have people killed, but I mean, Kash Patel is probably going to put Taylor Lorenz in a fucking work camp for 20 years.
Let's go.
See? It's all about just finding the thing that you like.
Well, I mean, and kind of joking there, but honestly not joking. If you go on Twitter and say, this is a good thing that this guy was killed. Also, here's a picture of another health insurance company CEO. How do you not interpret that as a terroristic threat?
Sure. And I mean, we have a Federal Bureau of Investigation. I mean, we have how many tens of thousands of police officers who can go look into that. And if that's a crime.
Any commie that's calling for people to be murdered, like, these are the Bolsheviks. Like, these are the low IQ people that don't really understand where things go, calling for these people to die. Yep. You will be next. This is how communism works.
100%.
Even if the guy
that is... that is the best point. Is like, if you think you're going to be like, let's kill all these CEOs, and you're just going to, like, avoid any of the blowback of this, you're incorrect. You're gonna get.
Trust me, you do.
You're
going to
get yours.
Game.
Agreed.
Exactly. And so, but honestly, I was going to get into that later, but yeah, so I think you legitimately could make a case to charge these people with terroristic threats and charge them under whatever federal laws or statutes there are for that. I heard people talking about, I'll jump to Daniel Penny real quick and then jump back to healthcare just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
After the Daniel Penny trial came to an end, you had people being like, well, if the justice system's not going to give us what we want, we should just kill him. Or, and then, they said the same for, there was a bunch of, like a list of different cases like Kyle Rittenhouse and other like high profile cases where the right wing guy got let off for, the crime of whatever he was accused of against the
being a hero.
And so
the crime of being a hero. Yeah.
That's it, exactly. But anyway, yeah. So if the justice system is not going to give us what we want, we should just kill these people. Okay, that's a terroristic threat, and you're going to prison, buddy. Have fun in the gulag. You're going to be banished to the Krystals for thousands of years.
Sure. And I mean, a lot of these people think they're kind of above this, and they have, in their defense, been made to believe that they're like, they are like above these laws because they were allowed to, like, for the last 4 years, just do all this shit, like all the George Floyd riots and all that stuff. And they're like, yeah, there's just
right.
Remember there was those lawyers who firebombed a police car in New York City. And I think they got, like, I don't even think they got any jail time for that. And you're like, yeah, normally in a normal society, that would have been at least some jail time. You can't fucking Molotov cocktail a police car.
Right. It would be so sick if when Trump gets in, any person that ever made a TikTok about how the shooter should try again or it sucks that he missed and, somebody should like every single person that made a stupid little off the hand, TikTok like that, you're going to prison, buddy. It's going to happen.
That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. I mean,
they have never had consequences for the words they speak.
I agree.
They've never had to face consequences for their own words.
And again, I'm still so like a free speech person, but like, again, obviously there are laws around, like, you can't threaten people's lives and whatnot. That is against the law. That's not free speech. And they're probably like, oh, you don't believe in free speech?
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't want you calling for the death of people. This is not how polite society.
I mean, I remember a time when you couldn't call for the death of any president. That was a big no-no. That was like when I was like in my 20s, you're like, yeah, that was just understood. Like, if you any point just call for the death of the president, like, someone's showing up to your house and you're probably in a lot of trouble. And then when Trump was in office, they were like, yeah, it's like, I guess it's kind of fine now. There's too many people doing it, or I don't know what, but they kind of just gave everyone a pass on it.
Yeah. And then too, if Trump did try and enforce that, you would have people on legacy media being like, he's imprisoning his political rivals. Like,
sure.
Okay, if somebody did this shit to Obama, they would probably be in Guantanamo Bay right now.
Hell yeah, they would. So, yeah, I mean,
but just
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
I was just going to say, jumping back to healthcare real quick, I just want to get a few things straight. I've heard a lot of people talking about it. It seems like everyone now is like a genius on healthcare and health insurance.
Sure.
And I'm no genius either, but from what I see, the problem is the problem is kind of threefold, and the real people who are to blame I'm not really seeing them take any blame. So everyone wants to blame health insurance companies, and everyone wants to blame, like, hospitals. The reality is insurance is a valuable tool for managing risk.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, people talking about, we shouldn't have insurance at all. The problem is not insurance. The problem is that you can use insurance, which is a risk management tool, to cover things that do not carry with them any risk. For example, if you, like, break your leg, right, in an accident, you didn't see that coming. That is an example of where it would make sense to employ insurance to help you cover the cost, because you can't plan for breaking your leg. But, like, going to the doctor for a, annual checkup, or going to the dentist for a teeth cleaning, or buying glasses, or
I mean, delivering a baby. I know there's a comic I know.
Delivering a baby.
Joe List's wife was saying they have insurance. Joe List just had a kid, and she was talking about it on stage, and she's like, we have insurance, and it was still like $18,000 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, how do people afford that?
So, like, take breaking your arm, for example. If you look at the cost of materials and labor that go into putting your arm in a cast, it really should not be that expensive. Maybe a few $100.
Well,
maybe.
I guess it's
Probably
like I guess it's like the Picasso thing, where the lady is like, draw me the picture, and then he like draws her like in 2 seconds a picture, and he's like, that'll be $50,000, and she's like, $50,000 only took you 10 seconds, and he's like, well, it took me my whole life to be able to draw this.
Right.
Like, so I understand,
so
this medical school costs a lot of money. I'm sure there's some amount of money where we can agree is worth, setting a broken bone that everybody goes, that's a fair amount. Now the commies would be like, it should be zero, but that's
right.
They don't live on planet Earth.
And what that comes down to is implementing cost controls for doctors and hospitals. And when you had Obamacare go through about a decade ago, we were all told, like, this is going to fix it all. We finally have healthcare, affordable healthcare for everyone. And all it did was force people to have insurance, raising the price of insurance, and it had no mechanism for cost control for hospitals. So you pass a bill where you basically can say, yeah, insurance companies, everyone has to have insurance, and hospitals can charge as much as they want for basically any service.
Sure.
Well, what's that going to do?
Right.
All you're doing, it's all a system of incentives, and the incentives exist so that hospitals can charge exorbitant prices for their goods and services, and insurance companies are forced.
But
to
sure, but yeah, but I'll say so because we were talking about this earlier. But like, so for a hospital, yes, they can charge whatever they want, but also they can't turn you away for like many issues, regardless of your ability to pay. So I might be misunderstanding this, but it seems like the hospital has to, if you show up and you're like, you had a heart attack or something, like they have to take care of you, even if you can't pay them. So then they're like, well, where do we get this money from? And then they go, well, we'll just raise the cost of everything else. So it's one of those things
for the people who do pay.
For the people who do pay. Exactly. Which is like, that's why it's kind of bullshit. But again, it's like, you don't want to live in a country where someone has a heart attack and because they can't pay, they just die outside.
Right.
Right. So you're like, okay,
so
there's got to be some balance here. But again, then, everybody was mad with Kamala Harris with the price controls thing. And essentially what you're saying is there should be price controls just on healthcare, which again is, it is something that everybody needs, but I guess people need eggs.
$5,000.
I agree.
Eggs. So, it's like, and then that's the answer. You tell people, okay, well, if you don't pay, then you can't receive a service. What other good or service can you not pay and still receive the good or service? And that is a tough thing to say. And also, this all stems from people not being able to realize we live in a world with finite resources. And like you said, the commies, they would want, the casks to cost $0 and 0 cents and, get paid for their time getting their cast put on. But we live in a world of finite resources.
Yeah.
And this is just one of the sad realities that healthcare is expensive.
Yeah.
But the way that it is currently structured is probably the worst possible way it could be structured. But that blame should not be put solely on insurance companies. It should not be put solely on hospitals. It should be put on both of them. But it should also be put on the politicians whose job it was to supposedly fix all this, and they only made the problem 10 times worse.
Right. And again, not to go back to the whole Canada thing, but like I pay more, like everybody's like, yeah, you get free healthcare in Canada, but it's not free because your taxes are so high. I pay more in taxes in New York than I did in Canada with free healthcare. I pay more in taxes here, plus I have to pay for insurance, which doesn't cover anything, versus in Canada where I paid actually still high taxes, but less. But at least I like never have to worry about, like an ambulance ride. Like here, everybody's like, if you need an ambulance, you should call an Uber instead, unless you're like bleeding everywhere, because they're going to charge you like $4,000 or something. Whereas like an ambulance ride, and when I lived in Toronto, it was like $40.
Well, places like Canada and the UK, like they have a different problem, which is shortages of services and goods.
Yeah.
And so then you end up with the maid and everything like that. Like, oh, you sprain your knee. Well, you should just kill yourself.
Kill yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
So they can say, oh, look.
There must be some country though. There must be some large country somewhere that has like a really good system. I've heard that people say the NHS is actually pretty good in the UK. It's similar to Canada in that it's just everybody's covered. But yeah, I don't know. It's such a complex issue, and there's so many people who do not want it to change because they make fucking tons of money off of it. So
Yeah, but
it
bottom
seems
point is wanting people dead is not the answer.
Agreed. All right, thanks for.
If you think that.
Agreed. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. Shout out to Logan, Dylan, Poison 1553, also Logan for the super chats and Logan for the low value mail memberships. I appreciate you. All right, let's take another call. Oh, one of my favorites. I hope I don't get G-checked right now, though. I really hope I don't get G-checked. I don't think I can handle another G-check. I don't know if anybody's ever been G-checked, but this gentleman right here recently G-checked me, and it did not feel good. Chris, how you doing, man?
Good evening. Am I on Low Value Mail with Danny Pashchuk?
Yes, you are. How's it going, Chris?
It's going, Danny. It's going. How are things with you?
It's all right.
Yeah, it sounds like things could be better. In fact, I was hoping to touch on that. Danny, if you stop airing Low Value Mail, I'm going to kill myself.
Please don't do that.
I'm not going to do that, but I really hope you don't stop airing this program, which I've come to really enjoy.
I enjoy doing it too. I don't want to get too much into it. I got to figure out a way to make it like, I don't know. It's one of those things where I can't figure out a way to get more people to watch it. So I can't like get a sponsor. I don't make any money from it. And then I'm like, because it takes so much time, I'm like, I could be doing other things with my time, like stand up and stuff. So I'm trying to figure it out so I can keep doing it because I do want to keep doing it. It's not that I don't like it. I do like it. It's just, unfortunately, it's like I can spend all day on this show or I can make a fucking stupid AI video that gets me 1 million views. So I'm like, I only have so much time in the day. And, but anyways,
yeah.
I'm not, that's not what I'm trying to do here. So
no, I fully understand. And I mean, you could, it's certainly an investment of your time. And I think I speak for all of the callers and listeners when I say that we appreciate it. Well,
and I appreciate you all. I'm not trying to do some fucking sorry is me shit. It's just, I'm trying to figure it out because it's like, I even had someone who was like wanting to do a sponsorship, and then I'm just like, not enough people listen to the show where I can even do a sponsorship. So I'm like, and I don't know. And there's certain things with the marketing that I'm not good at, and then I obviously had the fucking thing robot playing half the time at the beginning. So I'm just like, I might just be too low value. I don't know.
Well, I hear you say that, but then it's also like just a few moments ago you were discussing almost having the NIH guy, you were close to getting him on the press. So it's not like it's been entirely for nothing. But
I know, but it's just like whenever I have. Oh, go ahead.
It seems like you're venturing out and doing these Fox News appearances lately. Is that something you enjoy?
Yeah, they're fine. Like, honestly, they asked me to do them, so I'm not going to say no to going on a show that 2 million people watch, even though none of those people watch YouTube. So they're all 75 years old, and it does not convert over to this or anything for that matter. But I like doing it. It's fun to do once a month or whatever, like, a few times a year.
Some of Nick Mullen's appearances on the Red Eye program have gone viral and have blown up. But,
yeah, for sure. And, you never know. And, the show that they ask me on a lot is like they're moving into this huge studio, and you never know. Like, I'm not about like not taking opportunities,
So, Danny, it really does appear as though the white man is back, baby.
This is regards to the Daniel Penny thing, I assume?
The Daniel Penny, I mean, just left and right. Like, we continue stacking W's. And I must say, do you remember a time, it was sort of in the weeks right after Trump got shot, was that like June 20th or whatever? It was a conversation that was taking place like sort of across the right-wing online ecosystem. And you and Ryan were discussing it on Boys Cast. This was a time when you were like, it does feel like we just keep taking W's and like things are almost going too good.
Yeah.
And that sentiment also was like, among the right-wing tech bros in Silicon Valley. Do you remember that time, like, over the summer?
6 months? Yeah, absolutely.
But then as the election neared, like, that energy wasn't entirely zapped necessarily, but it certainly wasn't the W after W after W that was stacking at the time of, like,
I mean, it was seeming like
now it
Kamala had a
like
shot.
I mean, as this guy was on the run, I think we could all rule out that it was some Chapo Reddit retard because he actually had the wherewithal to pull it off and to remain on the run for, at least 72 plus hours. Somebody with ambition like that doesn't typically fit the Reddit communist mold.
No, this guy's a tech bro. This guy's more like a tech bro.
And before they unmasked him, I just knew, there's no way this is going to be a Reddit Chapo retard. The leftists cannot take a W right now. They just continue taking L's, and it feels good.
You know what's so funny? They had a guy on CNN, the guy who was actually, I think he was a police chief in Maryland remember when there was a John Lee Malvo or whatever, or I think that was his name. It was the sniper, the DC sniper who was killing people out of his trunk. Remember that dude? It was he was going all out randomly killing people.
I'm familiar with the story.
And anyways, and this guy was worked on the police force at the time. And this guy went on CNN and his theory was that the CEO actually hired this guy to kill him. Dana
Bash was like, "Are you sure you want to say that?" I saw that.
It was insane. He was literally like, "Yeah, sometimes people, if they think their life's about to change and maybe they're going to get indicted, they'll hire a hitman to kill them to just not tarnish their legacy." And you're like, what the fuck are you saying? It was insane.
And he was former state police for Maryland or something.
He was the guy who he was he was the guy investigating the whatever John Lee Malvo or whatever his name was, John Muhammad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this definitely had a lot of similar hallmarks as the Chris Dorner chase, which if you remember that,
of
that
course,
was a thrill being on the internet.
Oh yeah, I mean that was I'd like to get actually somebody, maybe a guest on the show, to because there must be someone who covered the Chris Dorner thing extensively. But that was a fucking crazy story. Remember, there's the video. You see the video too of he's behind a pillar, and then the cops are coming around the pillar, and he fucking is waiting for them, and he kills them. And it's just on
Big
video.
Bear Park or whatever. The cops were putting 100+ bullet holes into trucks with Chinese grannies where Dorner was nowhere near.
Dude,
that whole thing was a clusterfuck.
Dude,
super
that was
entertaining to be on 4chan and.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. But yeah, I mean, this guy's definitely not a leftist Reddit guy. He's definitely a tech bro. I mean, he had a GitHub account, and he's definitely not that.
Yeah, that's one of those points people keep making, which is crazy. Which is he comes from a family wealthier than the CEOs.
That I think I think that was a rumor, an unsubstantiated rumor. I think that was a rumor.
I saw helicopter footage hovering over his home or his family home. I mean, it looks like a damn villa.
Oh, really? I mean, okay, so maybe that's because there's so much right now where you go this could be bullshit, and people are throwing shit at the wall and all this stuff. So.
They said his high school is $40,000 a year. I mean,
I know that
from some money.
I know that because right before I went on, I was going to talk about this, but then I didn't because it just seemed like bullshit. But there was a Substack that was released, and everybody was like, "This is the guy who wrote the Substack," except for that it came out today, and the guy was talking about how his mom was in so much pain and was denied coverage. But you're like, no, you went to a $40,000 a year high school. You're like, you went to Penn, This guy's definitely, his mother did not get denied by United Health. They had money.
This is totally irrelevant, but there's a clip of Whitney Cummings on some podcast where she earnestly tries to play off word for word. She says, "Look, I grew up poor. I know what it's like." I only mention that because she also went to a private school in Maryland that was $40,000. It was $30,000 a year.
That's a comedy thing. Is if you ever come from money and you're in comedy, everybody just instantly dismisses you. So she probably just started lying about that very early.
Yeah, who knows?
And then she just kind of kept it going.
So when you see the white man taking another W when Daniel Penny is cleared of all charges, when you see that in the news, do you think? And this question is somewhat interesting because of the layers added onto it after October 7th and the left's response. But do you feel yourself, yes, me and white men collectively are taking a W? Do you view it as this is good for white people, so it's also good for us Jews?
Well, I was gonna say, chat, am I white? Let's see what the chat has to say about whether I'm a white guy or not. I'm white passing, I suppose. I mean, I think it's good for.
You're definitely way more white than you were before October 7th, right?
Yeah.
Does that feel true?
Sure. I mean, I will say, like, it's I'm very much of just like, I would like things to return to just like common sense. Like, we lost our compass about what is just common sense, which was encompassed with the whole like anti-white stuff. So I think it's just, this is a victory for maybe both, but I think this is just a greater victory for common sense. We just go, who cares what the race of anybody is? A guy was on the subway threatening to murder children. He's like, I'll go to prison. I don't care. I'll kill everybody. Somebody subdued him and he died in the process. You go, it's very clear who the good and the bad guy is here, regardless of race. We know who the good guy is. We know who the bad guy is. And the fact that it was like not a consensus was the thing that I was concerned about. So maybe it's tangentially good for white people in that regard, but like, I'm just like, it's just good that we can just be like back to common sense, where you go, even though tons of people think this is like a injustice and a travesty, you're like, most people are just like, all right, so people wanted me to take a poll. All right, I'll take a poll. We're going to find out for you.
Precisely. And it does feel good. And I think the message being sent is particularly powerful, that his acquittal came from a jury dominated by females.
Yeah.
Which,
well, it was 7-5.
I think
7-5. It was, it was basically 50-50. But yeah, I mean, again, you're like, still, you're like, like, I'm surprised it was a hung jury. Like, I'm even surprised that it wasn't unanimous.
Yeah, if you're a woman, don't you want more Daniel Pennies on board?
Absolutely.
Listen to the subway experiences that you're recounting this evening. I mean, these are horrifying. And I think New Yorkers are in a state of Stockholm syndrome or something, where, you know, callers from Texas like myself listen to this stuff, and it's like, you know, Daniel Penny went easy on this guy. And yeah, that's just so crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And there's like, I do a joke about it, but like, there's a thing in New York called the duty to retreat law, where literally by law, you have to run away if someone's attacking you. Like, if you basically, like, if someone comes at you with a gun and you like take their gun and shoot them, like, you go to jail, even though they came at you with a gun.
Yeah. They better not have any exit holes in the front of their bodies. That's crazy.
Right. You know, and you're like, it's crazy.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. I mean, what's also crazy is we see this with each one of these incidents, and I keep expecting things to level out, but they don't. But time and time again, when stories like this go viral, the left makes it so painfully clear to everybody they don't have the facts at all. So think back to Rittenhouse, like, you know, just the whole state lines debate. Like, you know, we've heard Anna Kasparian and some more, I guess, you know, somewhat more reasonable people since come and say, like, I was totally duped. But once again, I mean, you know, the David Pakmans of the world, these leftist media figures who command, like, decent audiences in the, like, alt media space.
Yeah.
Just don't have any of the facts. It would come as a total surprise to them to hear that his chest was still beating when the cops arrived, who failed to provide CPR or whatever.
Well, that's similar to the Rittenhouse thing. These are facts. Well, these are facts that literally pop the balloon of their entire argument, so they just avoid these things. They just go, well, you know, if I bring this one thing up and then everything else I'm saying is bullshit, so they just go, we'll just leave that out. You know, it's like lying by omission. They just leave it out, and you know,
it's just crazy how effective it is.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, again, people want to be told the stuff that they like. Like, people watch MSNBC.
What's that Roger Ailes quote? It's like, people want to feel informed. They don't want to be informed.
Exactly. Like people watch MSNBC because they want to be told the shit that they already believe. They do not want to like turn on MSNBC to say like, here's a good thing Trump did today. Like, they don't want that. They just want to turn it on and just be like, hey, like, these are all the bad things. He's Trump. He's a racist. Everybody's racist. We live in a racist society, blah, 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 blah. And that's what they want.
Yeah.
And then they feel warm and cozy.
And it seems like whenever this discussion is had, people can't help but mention how, like, the news has shifted so that the New York Times gets their money from paying subscribers, and those paying subscribers certainly don't want to hear, here's what Trump did that's good this week.
Absolutely not.
And so they're incentivized more than ever to continue maintaining this bubble and not allowing it to be pierced for their subscribers who are keeping them afloat.
Yeah, I agree. Just so you know, the poll, I put up a poll, am I white? It is currently deadlocked, 50-50, exactly 50-50.
Can I break that? I mean, well, I don't. You're an honorary white, that much is for sure.
Hey,
and,
it's not up to me.
It's
not up to me.
I hope you're on our side.
All right. Well, I hope I'm on your side too, because I don't think the Jews will do super hot.
I feel like I've taken up enough of your time.
Yeah.
However, can I quickly relate my experience with the healthcare industry?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Well, through all of my time being an ACT, I've been a responsible ACT. I've maintained health insurance, good health insurance.
Good for you.
And so most of my experience with the healthcare industry is involved in rehabs. And rehabs are like the wild, wild west, even still in 2024. Most of my experience comes in the late 2018-ish through 2020, 2022. I've been in rehab a lot. And they are completely the Wild West, where there's some great material on this. There's a great episode of American Greed. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that program.
Of course. Stacy Keach, my favorite narrator.
There's an episode about this guy, Kenny Chapman. And Kenny Chapman was just one of many clones, just like him, who completely preyed on the South Florida drug rehabilitation scene. You may have even heard of this at times. It's like a meme. It's like everybody knows just how corrupt rehabs are in South Florida.
Someone who called in, I can't remember, someone from Florida called in, and they were saying basically something similar, where you just go from like rehab to rehab, and they let you out, and you go to like another one, and it's like a total racket.
That's it. I mean, because the regulations just aren't in place, and those that are completely fucked up and manage to be corruptible. And so you have like criminals, opening up rehab centers in their wife's name. They can't because they're convicted felons for credit card fraud. Who are running sober living houses at drug treatment centers that are completely incompetent to deal with actual addicts who are in distress. And what you have is like high prostitution in these places. These are the ones that are the most corrupt. Just the ones I visited, you're getting drug tested, you're peeing and doing saliva 3 times a week. And you better be prepared to have a pen on you, because as a patient or a client in these drug rehabs, you're signing stuff like no bullshit, at least like 15, 20 times a day.
What are you signing?
New stuff. Now, that's your first 7 days in detox. It slows down as you enter the rehab phase. But for every single thing that can be itemized by the insurance company, you're signing. So if you go to a 1-hour group therapy session, you're signing for that. If you're doing a drug test, you're signing for that. If you're going to a billable therapy session where all they do is wheel in the TV and play a Russell Brand video talking about the 12 steps, that's a billable therapist hour that the insurance company charges thousands for. And so you really see this, and they try their best to cover it up, but it just is an issue that continues to persist today. And there's a great article in the New York Times called Liquid Gold that talks about drug test industry in particular, where it's $5,000 every time they collect your pee. And they're doing this, 3-4 times a week.
Fuck,
and,
I'm in the wrong business.
It really is a total racket.
Damn.
But hey, Danny, I think I know I got to get going. I do have an update on that scary black guy who tried to kill me that one time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I think he's inspired me to get clean for real, because since the last time you and I spoke, I ran into him once more. It was really scary, Danny. My life was in danger. I've been on an adrenaline high since. It was terrifying.
I'm sorry for laughing.
I'm not. I have a drug habit: opioids, heroin, and I have to go to the scary black parts of Dallas to acquire it. And, anyways, he is a couple blocks over. I try my best to stay away from him and to stay to my dealers who are at least a walk's distance away. However, he floats, he hovers, he's just around.
Yeah,
he's
like pure energy
all day. Precisely. Now, it was I had a guardian angel looking over me, because 2 weeks ago I came to score. My dealers weren't answering. I was sick. I needed dope. And so I said, fuck it. I went to the motel I knew he lurked around most, And Danny, I mean, I was looking over my shoulder like a fucking crazy person. But I knew people there. Here's the thing. They only had fentanyl. Now, I do heroin. I hate fent. I don't like fent. But I was so sick that I was like, fuck it. Yep. Okay, I'll score. Anyways, as I'm doing so, this guy who, remember, I scammed out of a lot of money
Yes.
To him. And I've been avoiding him especially. As I was getting out of my car to head into this Plugs Motel, he sees me. He had his hood up, so I didn't recognize him right away. Then he chased me to my car, and I just got in barely in time. He was pounding on my window saying, if I see you again, I'm going to fucking kill you. And Danny, it was so, he's not scary like he's the super buff, jacked black guy. He's scary because he's the low IQ black guy who, as I'm staring into his eyes, he's starting to kill me. There's nothing there. There's nothing. It's like if you see these trap videos from Chicago where it's not Chief Keef, but it's like goon number 14 with the extendo in the background.
Okay.
He's got that look on his face as
Oh.
he's threatening to kill me. And so anyways, I've been having nightmares, and I feel like I went out and I bought a stun gun. I bought mace. I got a taser that I'm pretty sure does nothing. And but it's really gotten me into shape where I'm terrified to return to these neighborhoods, and as a result, I believe I'm going to be able to stay clean this time.
Congrats. Well, I'm rooting for you. I think everybody's rooting for you. I hope that works. I mean, don't don't make like a YouTube video about like, here's what I would do to get clean, because you're going to get somebody killed. But
well, here's the thing. If I avoid that block, but I continue scoring at this one, I've seen him twice in the past, like 40 visits here. So that's like in 1 in 20 visits when I come to score dope like usual, I run into him. The way I see it, every time I score, that's a 5% chance that I'm going to get killed for real.
yes, correct.
And it's that thinking that has inspired. It's like, you know, I've been holding like this knife in my pocket the few times I've returned since, and it's the scariest I've ever.
Can you just pay him? I mean,
not.
I'm not saying you should pay him, but how much do you owe him?
So here's the thing: too much money, and I don't want to like get. But so I've only scored 4 times since that happened. I've been kicking a lot and sick, trying to get through it for real. One of the times I was venting to my dealers, saying like, "Hey, this is why I've been coming through less, and why I might have just ghost entirely. This guy's threatening to kill me." They said, "Oh, you have nothing to worry about. He just got released from federal custody in connection with the murder where he's the prime suspect." And they said, he's probably going to get nabbed again sometime soon, but because he's wanted and like quote unquote technically kind of like on the run right now, you have nothing to worry about because he's got bigger issues to deal with. I heard that and I was like, wait, he's on the run for a murder charge and you're telling me.
Yeah, he's got nothing. I mean, I hear that and I go, this guy's got nothing to lose.
100%. And so I thought about reaching out and like being like, hey, can I Venmo you or something? But he's the sort of low IQ black guy that will like steal your watch and help you find it. He will 100% take that money and then kill me the next time he sees me.
Yeah.
I've heard stories from people saying they hospitalized him over $3. Not a scary black guy I want to deal with. I think I'm getting clean from heroin for real this time.
Fantastic news.
Yeah,
thank you, Chris.
I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Guys, don't do drugs, everybody. Just avoid it like the plague. All right, we got some more. What do we got? 6, 8, 10 more callers. We'll get to you all. Phone lines are closed, though. Don't call in anymore. Hello.
Hey, Danny, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Thanks for staying on hold. Who am I speaking with?
You're speaking with Jaden from
Jaden,
Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Jaden from my home, Canada. What's up, man?
Nothing much. I was going to ask you some questions about comedy, but I figured because we're talking healthcare.
You can ask me whatever you want. It's open lines. Whatever you want.
Well, okay, just on the topic of healthcare, I wanted to say, like, I don't support shooting CEOs of insurance companies.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, I think it sounds like, I don't know the U.S. system exactly, but I used to kind of wonder, like, if you can't get healthcare somewhere, like if they're charging too much money, why can't you just go to another hospital?
Here's the thing,
I've
okay?
heard, like, a pretty good.
Yeah, when I lived in Canada, I was under the, everybody in Canada, they go, America's so fucked. The healthcare systems, they let you die on the street. They don't let you die on the street. If you can't afford healthcare, they give it to you. Like if it's like life-saving shit.
That's the first time I'm hearing it.
Yes, and that's what everybody in Canada thinks, is that you're like, oh, well, you're just like, if you broke your arm, you can't. Yes, you can. The problem is that if you make a certain amount of money, then they're like, okay, well then, like if you say own a house, or like you're like, yeah, I just put a down payment on a house. Yeah, they'll take your house from you because you have something to lose. If you don't have anything, like if you're just like, yeah, I rent an apartment, I have no assets, no money to my name, healthcare is free for all intents and purposes in this country. It's just if you're like, you have enough money that they can take it from you and you don't have insurance. Like when you hear about like medical bankruptcy, that's all it is. It's someone who has like $50,000 net worth, which is not a crazy amount of money, but they do have something. And then they go, yeah, we'll take that because you have something. But if you don't have something, then they won't.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if like the narrative here about U.S. healthcare is somewhat manufactured, by like leftists using deliberately vague terms and whatever, like kind of sloganizing the issue.
Yeah.
And also like, it seems like medical expenses in the U.S. are like super inflated.
Yeah, they are, because the system's so fucked up.
If your insurance is, like if you have to get insurance, right, you're going to be less cautious with what kind of medical care you're getting.
Well, no, see, that's the crazy thing about insurance here is that if you have insurance, you can only like go to certain places. So like they have this thing like in network, out of network. I don't totally understand how it works, but basically like if for whatever insurance I have, Allianz or whatever, like if I need to go get healthcare, they go, these are the places you can go to because these are the places you can work, that we work with. Like I can't just go walk into anywhere. They're like, we don't work with everybody. So it's like, in that sense, it's fucked because you just can't go everywhere. They have their specific people they work with, and they go, you can't go other places. You got to go to these places.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Whereas like in Canada, like you can go walk into any ER in the whole country, and they might have to like call your province to be like to get your whatever provincial health insurance card or whatever to figure that out between provinces, but like they'll see you at any ER anywhere in Canada.
Yeah, true. Like my city is like has notoriously slow ER, and like this is probably a thing like across all ERs basically, but there's a bunch of people who just want to go sleep there, or or score drugs, or whatever, or they're just lonely, and that's
they're
like,
lonely,
especially bad in Winnipeg. Like I have a close relative who's a paramedic here. And like she says, basically the ER is like hell on earth. Like it's like the absolute worst thing because she's there every single day, and it's just people screaming out in pain, and then other people just chilling and laughing on chairs, waiting to
and if you had to pay for it, like if it was like America and you had to pay for it, then probably people don't do that as much here. Although I guess if you're like don't have any money, then you're like, well, I don't pay for it anyway, so fuck do I care?
Yeah.
But it is a lie that they tell in Canada where like, because I was told that my entire life in Canada where you go, yeah, there's all these people in America that can't go to a hospital if they need to. And you go, that's not true.
Yeah. Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I do think there's like a disconnect between like what we hear about the U.S. and like what it's actually like.
Canada has that thing where we're always trying to be like, we're not, at least we're not America. Like things are better here. Right. Like it's like kind of a bit of a cope where they've got to be like, we every Canadian knows we have a little chip on our shoulder about not being American, about being Canada, and you go, it's the whole reason why whenever like any Canadian is successful in America, everybody's like, can you believe this? This guy's Canadian. Look at that, right? Like we have that whole thing. So it's kind of like that. We just got to be like, hey, we got to have some stuff that's better than them. So they go, yeah, you fucking people dying all the time. You go, it's not true.
Oh, sick. Actually, that kind of leads into like the next thing I was wondering about. Is like self-censorship in comedy, because I know you came from the CBC.
I did little work with the CBC, but yes. For people who don't know, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, it's pretty much like one of the only games in town if you want to be in entertainment in Canada, specifically right now.
Yeah, so like I was kind of wondering, like transitioning from being in Toronto to being a New York comic and stuff. Did you find like you'd have to like go outside your comfort zone a little bit more, like because the room is so different?
No, because I always just said all the same shit in Canada. It just made me like persona non grata in all the industry when I was living in Canada. Like we always said all the same shit. It's just you were just like, yeah, well, you just don't get to work at these places. But I wasn't like, oh, I got to make sure I say the right thing so I can go do the, no offense, the Winnipeg Comedy Festival or whatever that literally zero fucking people watch. And they pay you $500 to fucking fly out to Winnipeg to go do this like gala, which is like, you know, among Canadian comedians, they're like, oh man, I hope I get Winnipeg this year. And you're like, it does nothing for you. Nobody's going to watch it. It's literally nothing, but there's so little in Canada that you go, oh, this is a big deal. But no, I was always just like, fuck it. I don't care. I'm just going to do what I want. So for me, it was no adjustment. I just was like, yeah, I didn't ever like censor myself in Canada. I just got, you know, just didn't get to work.
Yeah, no, that does make sense.
Yeah.
Like it's a different, I don't even think Canada gets like an accurate representation. Like people, I'd say on average are more left wing here, but it is really split. Like
yeah.
I'm not even close to left wing. Like I'm like super libertarian, and I know a lot of people like me who are like Ron Paul guys, you know. But then you have like, and then you have like extreme. Like I know like a bunch of communists and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know, the most blue pilled, like whatever, hate Trump no matter what. You know, Trump derangement syndrome.
Love Trudeau
like,
no matter what. I mean, again, Trudeau's like his approval rating still in the 20-something%. So it's like a quarter of Canadians. They literally approve of him. Like they're not like ambivalent. Yeah. They're not like, I don't know. They're like, yeah, he's great. When he's objectively garbage.
Even still, like the media kind of like has turned on Trudeau for the past maybe couple months or whatever. Not that hard, but they used to give it so easy to him.
Yeah.
And now it's like, it's even weird for me to see because I'm just so conditioned to, like, I was like, you know, I was like barely voting age when he got in.
Yeah. I mean, I have friends who are on This Hour Has 22 Minutes. Like I have several friends who are on that show and they are like I see some sketches now where they make fun of Trudeau and you're like, whoa, that was like unheard of like a year ago. They like loved him. And well, the thing is like, it's very much the short poppy syndrome is they'll make fun of him the moment there's like a consensus where it's okay. They'll never stick their necks out and be like, you know, it might be controversial to make fun of him. Once it's the safest thing in the world where you go, this guy's a laughingstock on the fucking entire planet. Then they go, oh, now we can, you know, maybe take some shots at him. But only until then. Like, nobody would ever just go out of their way and be like, oh, we might get in trouble for this. There might be a couple of people who don't like it, you know? It's only once,
like, by that time, if you're making jokes about that, it's, like, super hack.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's made those jokes hundreds of times before.
Exactly. And nobody has ever accused This Hour Has 22 Minutes of being fucking, like, edgy comedy. It's like, yeah, it's the safest, hacky shit. So... that kind of tells you what you need to know about that. Excuse me. But yeah. Anyways,
well, thanks for
no problem.
Thanks for answering the questions. I know you probably got more callers to go or whatever.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, we got a bunch more. But thank you for calling in.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for the time, and I do hope you keep this show running. I'm a newcomer to it, but like I really like it.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Also, the video that you made or the movie about. Inspired by Rob Ford or whatever.
Yeah.
That was fucking hilarious, dude.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll never get to do something like that again. But it was fun. Go check that out. Filth City. Available on Tubi. Thanks, man. All right. Let's get some more calls here. Man, we got a lot. This show's going to... I guess I am doing low-value mail overtime. But we're doing it on the main show tonight. I'll just be tired. It's fine. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Hi, Dan. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Who am I speaking with?
I'm Krystal. Hi.
Hi, Krystal. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. I've got so much to talk to you about. Okay. First, I'd really like to thank the two gentlemen who called after that California commie because the commie, he made me feel uncomfortable, but the gentleman after that made me feel better about the world. So
sure. Some people just want to watch everything burn, you know?
Yeah, that's not my style.
No.
But about the healthcare. You guys brought up a really great point about the prices. Well, what's funny is Trump signed an executive order for hospital transparency. They're supposed to show us the prices so it can be more competitive and we can judge for ourselves.
And you can like shop around?
Yes, exactly. But of course, Biden didn't enforce it, so it hasn't been happening. So that's
right.
Number one on the healthcare side.
And did Biden not enforce it specifically just because it was a Trump policy and he's like, I'm just doing the opposite of anything Trump did?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Why else?
So then do you think Trump, when he gets back in, he's going to put that back into play?
Oh, definitely.
Okay,
definitely.
so that's
I think
good.
He's gonna, yeah, I definitely think he's going to do. I don't know how much on the insurance side he's going to help that much, but that at least is a step in the right direction because the insurance, it is a mess. It's absolutely a mess.
Yeah, it is a mess. No question.
Yeah, but saying someone should be murdered over it, that's
yeah. Again, the CEO, like there's going to be a guy who's going to like CEO is just like a job. There's going to be a guy who's going to replace him, and it's just going to be business as usual. Like the new CEO of United Health is not going to be like, oh, let's change everything. Yeah. Thank God you guys murdered the last guy. He's just going to be like, yeah, we're doing exactly the same thing. The system is what the system is.
Right. Well, but the thing is, when you were first talking about that guy who murdered him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, no, people love him." Danny, I thought you were joking.
No. I did a joke about it the other night at the Williamsburg Comedy Club, and literally, like when I was like, "Oh, you guys like the guy, the murderer," and people were like applauding, like people really really like this guy.
I'm sorry, but what the F is wrong with New York, son? Like,
it's not a New York thing. No. That is not a New York thing. I mean, this was in New York, but like go online. People across America, I'm sure Canada, they love this guy. More than they don't like him. That's for sure. Yeah.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. The other thing I wanted to, two quick ones. It's just for me, but how did you feel when Trump suggested maybe Canada should be the 51st state and Trudeau should be the governor?
I'll tell you, more importantly, not how I felt, but like I made a sketch, a little like AI sketch about it. And then people in Canada they're so demoralized right now with Trudeau and things are going bad. I believe they just came out with the unemployment rate's like 7% or something. People in Canada are quite excited about this idea. Now it'll never happen. But 10 years ago, if this was put forth that Canada would become the 51st state, it would be 100%, if maybe 99% of people would be like, fuck no, zero chance, that'll never happen. This was like probably a third of people were pretty open to it. They're like, yes, please get us out of this hellhole. We'd love to be part of America. Like that
would be greeted as liberators.
To some people, they would. And again, like if Trudeau's out and the new guy, conservative dude, comes in October, maybe those people will change their tunes. But like there was a shocking amount of people who were amenable to that idea. Like I couldn't believe it. Like people were just like very like, yes, please.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Because I would joke about it, like, yeah, we'd be greeted as liberators. But then to hear that, wow.
Well, they would to like a lot of people in Alberta, Western Canada, like a lot of people in Ontario, like they would. Yeah, legitimately right now. But again, I think that more just speaks to like just how upset people are in Canada about how things are going. That's even like considered, but it won't happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then last little thing. So, okay. So yeah, I'm with Daniel Penny. I was so relieved when he was acquitted because I thought he was going to be acquitted, or I didn't think he was going to be acquitted.
Yeah, you thought he'd be convicted.
I really did. Especially when they got that first one dropped, I thought, oh goodness.
Well, that was a crazy thing because, like, all these legal experts were like, that doesn't ever happen where they just go, yeah, just ignore the first one and just let's see if we can get a decision on the second one. Like, usually they go, if the first one's out, then they just go, okay, well, then they're all out. But I think in my heart, I was like, there's no way that if these are New Yorkers, they could possibly convict him. Like, if you did this trial somewhere else because you're like, New Yorkers couldn't give him a partial, like, he couldn't have a partial jury, and then they don't understand what it's like taking the train here, maybe, but it seems so far-fetched to me. But then it also seems so far-fetched to me that they even put him on trial to begin with. So crazier things have happened.
Right. Well, yeah, and plus they were hung on the first. I mean, they were deliberating for 4 days. So
4 days, I know.
I was like, well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, because you do live in New York, so I wasn't sure the atmosphere of the people around you living there in New York. Like, no, he's gonna be fine, or no, they're gonna convict him.
I mean,
so
any person, I don't know a single person who would have been in favor of him being convicted personally, but I don't really hang out with people like that a lot. But I don't know anybody who's in favor, but there were people literally, like, there was a whole issue with the trial where they were protesting outside, and like you could hear them like in the courtroom, people basically like protesting and chanting for him to like essentially like lock him up kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And when they did the conference and stuff, and they just lied. They just lied about it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he was asking for food, and threatening to kill people and screaming in their faces and saying he didn't care if he.
I mean, the moment he just goes, "I'm willing to go to jail. I'll kill everybody." You go, case closed.
Yeah, exactly.
Case closed.
And you know what? The last guy, he was absolutely right. Women, they do absolutely good, smart women want men like Daniel Penny. If they say, "Oh, no, I can take care of it myself," they're an idiot, or they've never been through shit. That's a stupid reaction.
Insane. I mean, there were so many like women on Twitter and stuff who were like, they would come out and be like, yeah, some guy like attacked me on the train and nobody did anything. And you're like, yeah, nobody did anything because they see Daniel Penny on trial. You're like, why would they help some stranger? What, so they can go to fucking jail?
Right.
Fuck that.
Yeah. It's emasculating, it's demoralizing, and it's just bad for society. And because I remember like taking classes and them talking about how chivalry's bad, and I would just get so irritated. It's like, do you understand what that means? Do you understand what it's like for women if we don't live in a chivalrous society anymore?
For sure.
Do you understand what that means? That means the worst ones will do whatever the hell they want, and the good ones like Daniel Penny will be unable to do it.
Yeah, they'll just sit there and watch it, and you go, that's what you're going to get. And you're not going to like it. Exactly. I assure you're not going to like that more than like someone taking, I guess, the law into his own hands. You know, I don't know what they want, because the same people who are against Daniel Penny are also defund the police people. So it's not like they're like, hey, we need police officers on every subway car, which isn't even possible because there's so many and they just couldn't afford it. But like, they wouldn't want that either. They're like, I don't want a police officer on every car. They're like, what do you want?
Yeah. And they don't want you to have guns either.
Yeah. You can't have guns.
Okay. What?
Yeah, you can't. You can't have guns. I mean, if you have a gun on a subway, on my other show, there was a comedian who shot this guy on the stomach, who was a guest on my other show.
Oh.
And he shot some guy on the stomach on the train. It's a crazy penalty to just have a loaded gun on a subway, like specifically on the subway.
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't want police. You don't want us to be armed. You don't want us to defend yourself. You defend the criminals, not the victims. Yeah. Okay. We've done this before.
Yeah. I mean, they live in fantasy land. They literally live in like they go, the world should be a utopia. It's not. So what else? Like, next conversation. It's not.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. One more. Can we
go ahead.
Back a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because, okay, so the guy, the murderer, I gotta say,
Luigi.
Luigi? Is that his name?
That's his name. His name
Mario.
is no. His name is Luigi Mangione.
I don't care. I don't give a shit what his name is. I don't give a shit what the murder.
Fair enough.
No offense. But okay, but the thing is, because I was sure that guy was, because everybody kept saying he wasn't a pro, but Danny, I was sure that guy was hired.
Me too.
Hired by somebody. You don't just shoot someone in the back like a coward, by the way.
Yeah.
Shoot someone in the back 3 times, cool, collected, walk away, have a plan like that. But then he doesn't leave the country. He has a manifesto. He leaves the bullets behind. What the? I'm sorry, Danny. This doesn't add up to me.
I mean, I'll say the thing that wasn't like that probably took away the whole pro thing, which someone made this point, but like professional hitmen, they shoot you in the head. They don't lazily just like randomly shoot you in the back. So, I mean, I think I think the explanation here until we find out further is just like he was like some just disgruntled kind of activist dude. I mean, he had a manifesto that literally says like, he said these parasites had it coming, and he just has a real beef with the health insurance industry as an industry. And he just wanted to make an example. If you want to do that, then you go find the head of the largest health insurance company in the nation.
Yeah.
And you do
but then
that.
You just get caught?
That I'm surprised he only made it to Pennsylvania. Again, I've never been on the run like that. I don't know how hard it is, but you think he could have been on like a bus. I mean, I've taken the Amtrak where
could you give it a try and get back to me, Danny?
I'm good on that. But like I've taken the Amtrak where the final destination, like I went from like New York to Washington, but it goes all the way to Florida. Like you can take a bus to Florida if you need to, and he could have been there by now. So I don't know. But again, his face is everywhere in this whole country. Like it's the #1 story. It's pretty hard to.
Right.
Pretty hard to. I mean, if I was him, I would have shaved literally his head, his eyebrows. Like I would have gone full alopecia with the mask. That would have bought him some time.
And, you're right. But I wonder if because who would have guessed that this story would have gone so viral? That could have been.
Well,
but at the same time,
it's the #1 story on the news, but also the #1, the #1 revenue stream for like media buys for all the news is all healthcare shit. So, you know, maybe they're doing their friends a solid, telling them they play ball because they don't have to make it the biggest story; they just choose to. I mean, again, like Syria just got like Syria literally the Syrian government just got overturned. Like that should probably be a bigger story, but
yeah, that's something to look forward to.
Sure.
I'm sure that's all going to turn out well.
Oh yeah. Who knows what'll happen there. All right, I gotta let you go, but thank you for calling.
All right,
Appreciate
thanks
it.
so much. And so Monday
nights, 9 p.m. Monday night.
Okay, and I love Boys Cast, and so it's really great to get the male perspective on things. I really enjoy watching your guys' show.
Cool,
so,
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Bye.
Good night. All right. Man, there's so many callers left. Let's take another. We're just going to do these in order. Thank you very much for joining me. We're going late tonight. Thank you all. Hello. You're on Low Value Mail.
Hey there, it's Travis from Nasty.
Hey, what's up, man?
I do not want to comment on the whole assassination of a chief executive officer.
Sure.
More, it's just like, dude, I live in Seattle, and
in where?
It
Seattle?
really seems like, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm more just commenting on the Daniel Penny thing. It's just like, whenever people just go crazy on public transit all the time, and people use the light rail sometimes as a restroom.
Sure, that's in Seattle.
No one can do. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like nobody can do anything about it.
Right.
And like the one time someone seems like, oh hey, there's someone going crazy, I'm just gonna kind of step in, and it seems like just straight up lawfare like going on.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
again,
it-
it's like
yeah.
every normal person wants someone to intervene. I mean, again, you can't intervene someone taking a shit. Like, you know, if someone takes a shit on the train, as much as you want to go like physically assault them, that's probably too much, I would say. Ideally, you have a police officer show up, but then the police officer's probably like, yeah, what do you want me to do with this guy? It's like, give him a ticket that he'll never pay because he's fucking indigent. Like, what do you want them to do? So, you know, it's like, I don't even know what the solution is to people shitting on the trains. I guess you can make it, you know, how it was under Giuliani here, where it's like you got thrown into jail for hopping a turnstile, but then we all kind of agreed that like that was maybe too much, but then that seemed to work on like cleaning things up. No pun intended. But
Well, I don't know, man. It is like what do you do? Because people use public transit because they need to use it.
Yes.
And unfortunately, the people who join in are the people who choose not to pay for it.
Right.
So it's like,
for sure,
whenever I see like fair transit or like fair enforcement, it is just like, why the hell did I pay when this person is just like openly disrespecting some like a purportedly law enforcement officer?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I paid my $5, but this guy who is like, no, I don't have an ID. Like no, it is a deeply frustrating thing.
Oh,
like,
yeah, no question.
And I think that actually leads to people openly acting crazy, that it does allow that I don't want to say it allows, but it opens up that type of behavior.
It promotes it a bit in the
Like-
sense that, like, yeah, I mean, it used to be that they would put you in a fucking mental institution, and then they closed all the mental institutions, and they were like, okay, well, we'll replace that with prisons or jails. And then they were like, well, that's a little too harsh to just fill the jails with all these mentally ill people who belong in, like probably like a proper like psychiatric facility. And then they were like, okay, well, I guess we'll just release them. And we're at the like that phase where they're like, we'll just release them because they don't really belong in jail and we don't have any facilities to put them in.
It is a terrible thing. The thing that I don't know, man, like the overwhelming, I don't know if it's overwhelming, but the Trump victory, it's like people will tell me that it's like, oh, you know, Reagan shut down all the mental health institutions. And then I like look more into it. It's like, no, there was like 4 decades of mental health patient advocacy before then.
Yeah.
That kind of led up to that.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't
Yeah.
just happen overnight. Like there were probably people who were like, yeah, this is for whatever reason, I don't know, a bad thing. And then, you know, it just eventually people make these decisions and you arrive where you're at. And, you know, maybe someone will change something about it. I don't know. But, you know, the appetite for it doesn't seem high to like open up all these mental institutions again. Probably is what they should do.
Like, dude, it's fucked up. Like, seeing the tent cities in, like it's, I don't think it's as bad in Seattle as it is in, like Kent Street. But, like, 2 days ago, I just saw a guy just straight up, like, smoking black tar heroin at a bus stop.
I
And
mean,
I'm like,
the studio...
at the very least, that could be.
Yeah, I mean, the studio I'm at right now, which is near MSG, Madison Square Garden, I leave here all the time, and there's just people shooting up heroin, like, right out the door. Just, like, literally people... I've seen people in the subway, like, when I go get on the train, blood streaming down their arms. I've seen guys with the needle, like, passed out with the needle still in their arm, like, all the time. And you think that would be an easy thing to arrest,
like,
but...
Well, not even arrest. Like, at the very least, like, okay, arrest possession, I guess. Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
it's like people.
I mean, you can, and then you
like,
fill up the jails, and they go, we already did that, and that didn't work either. So, like, I think the problem is we can't agree. You go, you know, you can be Singapore, and you go, we can have these insane penalties for drugs, which works absolutely in terms of getting people not using drugs as much. But then you go, well, that's like in terms of liberty, you probably have less liberty when you're like more heavy handed on the drug stuff. So then everybody's trying to get a balance, and it just keeps kind of ping ponging back and forth. We go, do we want less laws? Do we want harsher laws? You're like, like there's models where you can figure all this shit out. Like you can be Singapore and probably nobody uses drugs and it's very civil. But then you're like, if you get caught with a joint, you go to jail for 10 years and go, yeah, well, we don't want that. Some people do.
Well, it really drives out like law-abiding citizens, the taxpayers. It's like I'm not putting up with this shit anymore. I'm getting out of here. I'm not fucking paying these taxes anymore. Like,
yeah, I mean, everybody's been saying that's going to happen in New York, but it doesn't. It's just like more people come here, fucking rents go higher. Like, you would think that. You definitely would think that, especially after COVID, when people are working remotely, don't need to live here, and yet they still fucking live here. And they still come here. But yeah, I mean, you probably need some dude coming in and just being like, yeah, I'm going to be the cracking down hard on all this stuff, and people will like it until they don't. And maybe you just need to go back and forth.
I would say, I'm not into the whole government thing. Like my strategy would be like soft power, just kind of like, just like send the message being like, hey, like you're going to go through the system if you're openly doing like illicit substances.
Sure, but these people have probably been through the system nonstop. Like these are people from the system, so they're probably not, they're like, whatever, that's just part of the deal,
well, I am just an idea guy. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, hey, man, it's just like I'm sure there's a lot of people who have similar things, and they go, yeah, I don't like. It's a hard one. It's if there was such a clean cut solution to it, it would be solved, I guess.
Well, I don't know, man. It's like I do see the people who have the worst ideas just being like, hey, this is an illness. And I'm like, yeah, we should probably at the very least address the address the entire address the criminality first, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, again, I don't think like if you have like a little bag of drugs, like I don't think you should just go to jail for 5 years. Now, some people who do go to jail, they're like, yeah, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It was the only way I got clean. I don't know. But like that, you send them to jail, that opens up its own set of issues. If we're just going to lock up every person who has a little bit of drugs for personal use. So own issue right there. So.
Like I wouldn't say that. Like I do accept, like, I live in the city. I know for a fact that it's like there does come some degree of just accepting that there's going to be like a little more of like the darker side of society when you're in the city. But it's like dude, this is falling apart. Like there is a systemic failure going on, and especially with like the whole Daniel Penny thing. It's like when you like when the law, when the legal systems do not address like full blown like the drug addiction like issues, and they like choose to prosecute a guy who like kind of steps up and accuses him of being like a vigilante murderer.
Yeah,
the phrase for that is a narco. It's a narco tyranny.
Yeah.
So it's like when the people who choose to obey the law, who choose to like just like fall in line and like stay within the lanes, and when there is this element of criminality like widespread throughout like the big cities, it's like the systems like fail.
Yeah.
Like it's yeah.
I mean, I guess what happens is it gets so bad, and then someone comes in like Giuliani, and they go, okay, well, we're going to go the opposite of what they've been doing, and we're going to crack down super hard. And then they do that for long enough, and people go, well, we don't like this either. And then you just kind of go back and forth. And hopefully
I think that's more like
find some equilibrium.
Well, yeah, I suppose that's just like it's more like a legal tide. Like it goes in, it goes out.
Yeah, that's
like
that's a good way to say it. All right, I gotta let you go, man.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of callers here, but thank you for calling in. Appreciate it. All right, stay on the line. We will get to you. The poll right now: am I white? 52% of you say yes. 48% say no. Interesting stuff. Am I white? Am I? I don't know. I really don't know. Seems unclear. Mark says someone shitting on the train is an assault on every passenger. Yeah, I mean, I agree in some sense. How do you defend yourself against such an assault, though? Trust me, I have fantasies all the time of just knocking out some guy who's taking a shit on the train. All the time. I don't do it. But in my mind, I have one of those hero fantasies where I'm going to go fucking... Hello. You're on Low Value Mail. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, what's up? It is Tomas. Hope all is well.
What's up, Tomas?
I'm not much of a
comedian,
comedian
Tomas.
Sorry?
Right? Tomas, I know.
Wow, yes. Officially comedian, yes.
Tomas Libel, very funny comedian. What's up, man?
Tomas Libel, thank you very much. That means a lot coming from the founder of Low Value Mail. I wanted to bring it back to the UNC shooter. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but, something's not added up about this guy. Like he went to like a private high school. I went to a private high school. I can't imagine any of these kids assassinating a CEO. They're all too lazy. Like, I don't know. Do you think there's some kind of like funny business there? And there's also
some sort of MK Ultra scenario.
Okay, I don't know about that, but also I'm seeing a lot of parallels between this guy and old T-Bone Crooks, right?
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is how much we know. I'm getting this fucking thing from YouTube right now. Okay, hopefully YouTube doesn't shut this down. Yeah, I mean, Thomas Crooks we currently know nothing about, and we seem to know everything about Luigi, which is fairly interesting. Yep, that's a good point.
But does the story add up to you?
Does it? I mean, from what I know, it seems plausible. I don't think it was someone hired him to go kill this dude because, like, why throw away your whole life over, like, what's some money? Like, I know people do that. He doesn't seem like the type of person to do that.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, we're going to find out some more stuff over the next few days. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, some people were like the wife. That was some theory is the wife hired this guy, but this guy's not like a contract killer.
Yeah. Right. He's some schmuck. But again, I literally cannot. Yeah, he's some guy. I can't imagine literally any of the kids I went to high school with being like having this much of a conviction to buy a gun and kill someone. Kids
he didn't buy it. He 3D printed it. And the suppressor.
You can 3D print a silencer?
Yeah, it's called a suppressor, and yes, you can. And he did.
Right, but
yeah,
still, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, throwing away his life. Like, people who grow up in like extremely wealthy environments, it's very rare they have like convictions. They're willing to shoot someone over. You see what I'm saying?
No, I agree. It doesn't really add up. I mean, the best, like, if you look at his Twitter profile, I've said it, but he has this X-ray of him with all these pins in his back. So I'm like, maybe he had such an awful experience in healthcare that it just like, because there is a lot of people who are saying like, who are like family and friends of his who like basically he kind of like dropped off the map and like nobody had heard from him in like a year kind of thing. And so maybe he had some psychotic break. Like there's a theory that he took like ayahuasca because he was in like Oaxaca or something in Mexico. And like there's theories that he took like some psychedelics, some strong psychedelics, broke his brain.
Right. Yeah, I guess. If there's just one more thing I wanted to, propose, it would be have you, you're talking about the success of like the Low Value Mail podcast. Have you started posting clips of this stuff?
I do post clips. The problem is because it's a call-in show, it's really hard to post a 90-second clip. But I do
post. It's not clippable?
It's not really clippable, no, because it's like you only have 90 seconds. And it's just very tough. I was for a while. I had a guy making clips, and like literally none of them did well ever because it's just like it's so hard to fit that in 90 seconds. That
more long form.
Yeah, and I do post the longer clips, and they do okay, but No,
Right.
Not.
No, I'm just saying that because I'm thinking back to the woman from earlier today, or the guy who said, and I quote, he wasn't a muscly black guy. He was one of the low IQ ones.
Well, here's the problem.
I
posted a clip from the bathhouse on my other channel, and it got demonetized for life. So that I'm like, there's certain things where I'm like, I can't even post this.
Oh, they can just do that?
Oh, they can and they do. Yeah. So I'm like, I can't even literally. Some things I can't post. I don't know. Maybe I need to hire a new clip guy and see if they can do something for me. But I haven't been able to figure out. That's for sure. But yeah, maybe.
Right.
I don't know.
Cool, man. That is all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Tomas Liebel, everybody. Thanks.
Show.
Thanks, dog. Appreciate you calling in.
Thank you.
See you around. Tomas, everybody. All right. Let's bang out these calls. I gotta piss real bad. Stop calling in, anybody. By the way, the phone lines are closed. Don't call in anymore. All right. Mark says, welcome to your first conspiracy theory, Tomas. He is a young boy. He's like 18 or 19. Bright future ahead of him. Hello. You're on Low Value Mail. Hello. Hey, what's up? Hello.
Am I the one that's on?
Yep, you're on Low Value Mail.
Hello?
Who am I speaking with? Hey, you're on.
Oh, this is Margaret from Minnesota.
Margaret from Minnesota. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm just calling in about the healthcare system, and as a business owner, how expensive it actually is.
Tell us, please.
For Obamacare, it is $550 a week.
What?
For me to have insurance.
For yourself
It's
personally,
insane.
or for all your employees?
For my family of four.
For your family of four, yeah. So you pay
Just my family of four.
$2,200 a month. That's wild. And do you have like a lot of like copays and deductibles when you do use it?
Oh yeah, of course.
So,
and me and my husband have actually decided to not have it, and we've used it, and we've paid off our mortgages. We've actually paid off a couple of mortgages and just keep buying property with that money.
Instead of having health insurance?
Now. Yeah.
So you just have no insurance?
We're better off now. No
Interesting.
insurance, but we own property.
Right. And so what happens if you have something
don't know.
like catastrophic? Hopefully, obviously doesn't happen, but what happens in that event?
I don't know. We have business insurance. I guess we might die, but we have fat stacks in our bank accounts and property to cover it. So
sure. So, and do you guys?
I don't know.
Do you guys make a point of like kind of trying to be healthy generally?
Oh yeah. Yeah. For sure.
I mean, that seems to be the biggest, like, but do you get penalized for not having insurance? Do you have to pay a penalty for not having insurance?
They try to, but I have a good tax guy.
Oh, okay.
So
then,
he brushes that fast.
Gotcha.
But what is interesting is that my in-laws, they raised 8 kids just so they can scam the government and get all the income from that. And now that they're in their like 60s, they're going to school for free.
They're going to school for free in their 60s?
Yeah. My in-law just graduated with her master's degree in early childhood development. Nobody's ever going to hire her.
No. She's just doing it for
but
fun?
She just scammed the government. Yeah. It's because she gets all the fucking government funding every year. She can live off that $13,000. It fucking sucks.
That's interesting.
People get all this money for free.
Huh. I mean, I know that's I'm sure this country has a million of those things where you can just kind of, these little scams that you can do. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's just how the system's set up. But yeah, the healthcare thing seems insane. That's interesting that's what you're going with, though, is to just say fuck it. And
yeah, I just no insurance.
No insurance.
We can't afford it.
Yeah, you can't afford. Well, it seems like you have, you're just doing it a different way. I guess if something really bad happens and you say you own all these properties, I guess you could always take out a mortgage against one of your properties. Worst case scenario, pay off some crazy health insurance.
It seems better than paying all these guys that don't want to cover you anyways.
Yeah, I mean, that's the crazy part. Is you
mean,
can have insurance and like they won't even cover you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't go to use health insurance ever, and I still pay $5,000 a year for it. And like, I don't go to a doctor ever, like for nothing. I honestly,
I haven't been to one in like 15 years, probably.
Yeah, you know what the interesting thing is too is like coming from Canada, where you can go to it whenever you want. Is just like when it becomes like a financial decision, you're just like, you know what, I actually don't really need to go to the doctor.
Yeah, maybe I don't need that checkup. I mean, I don't need to know what my ACL1 is. What does that even
but you
mean?
can do, and you can do all this stuff like, you know, Amazon right now on Prime. If you pay an extra $10 a month for Amazon Prime, you have like unlimited telehealth visits. So it seems like you can
that
do
is
a lot
really
of this
cool
stuff.
now.
Yeah, you can do a lot of this stuff without actually having to go physically see a doctor. And
Who is it? McCullough, I think. I got a McCullough basket of everything I need in case something happens, where he sent me like all these antibiotics and
and you just take, who's that Dr. Mercola guy or whatever? Yeah, and so you just take those
whatever. I guess if I get the flu next year, I'm covered. But whatever.
And again, if you get really sick, then you know you need to go to an urgent care. You pay whatever $300 and they'll see you. $200. I guess
and my insurance won't cover it anyway. So
the same with me.
What
like
am I losing out?
Yeah, like if I had to go, it wouldn't even cover it. Maybe I should cancel my insurance. I think you might have convinced me to cancel my health insurance. Waste of money.
Yeah, I think just balling it up and paying it off in property.
Yeah.
Getting some bags. Let's do that.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
It seems like we're just paying for old people to die. And it sucks.
Yeah, and people who probably are like just incredibly unhealthy, who don't have insurance, who use the healthcare system.
And never fucking had a job in the first place. Yeah. Why do I have to pay my insurance to have like $560 a week?
It's because you live in the greatest nation in the world.
Okay.
That's why.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well,
thank
thanks,
you for
Danny.
calling
I
in.
appreciate you taking the time.
My pleasure. Thanks for calling in. All right, let's get a couple more calls, and then we will wrap this bad boy up. I gotta piss so bad. Might go full quartering and piss in the floor. Hello.
What's up, Danny? It's Conspiracy Extremist. How's it going, man?
Conspiracy Extremist. How you doing, man?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm very well. I keep getting this notification from YouTube, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the one dude who is the heroin junkie, real quick, I just want to give him a shout out, dude. I know it's hard. You can do it.
You can do it, Chris. I mean, this guy's going to kill him, so that helps.
Well, it may or may not. Everyone's different when it comes to like drug addiction. I mean,
no, I'm saying this guy, he ripped off this drug dealer who he's now worried is going to murder him. So that's kind of like what's keeping him. Like he thinks that that's going to help him because now he's just like, you know what? He's so scared of getting murdered by this guy that he is. It's kind of keeping him at bay because he's like, if I go get heroin, I might get murdered. So it's an interesting strategy.
You know, listen. That's a win-win because either way, he's going to get sober.
Yes, agreed. Agreed.
So you know, I was trying to do a real human thing and just say, hey man, keep it up. Stay with it. You can
that's what we tell them every week.
Yeah. Danny, you asked if you're white.
Yeah. Well, it's not up to you. The chat currently says yes, 55%. I am white.
I agree. I see that more when. Okay, here we go again. When we talk about like, well, at least from my perspective, you're a white person because you're not like a little. You're not a guy that's like have the victim mentality. And I actually had a real life encounter with a white person, and I called them a Jew, and that was probably not appropriate, but they were just like, "Oh, woe is me," you know. And this was a real life person in my family, and I just said, "You know, you're acting like a Jew right now," but I mean that sounds racist, obviously. But
sure.
When it comes to your question, no, you're a white guy.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I deem you white.
Did you vote?
Of course I did. And I voted for, no, you're not white. But I am just saying right now you are.
Nice.
All right. So getting to like the topics on hand, I think I have a unique view on the whole CEO pharmaceutical guy.
Mm-hmm.
My perspective is this guy, it sucks that he died, but he was probably a demon person.
He was a demon person?
Well, he's an evil guy. He works as a CEO for a company who led in denying claims.
Yeah, I agree.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. The weird thing is, Mark says just the distinction, healthcare and pharmaceuticals are not the same. Yes, he's a healthcare. But I mean, yeah. And the thing is probably in their industry, you're like, yeah, we want to have the most denials because they're like, that is demon shit where they're like, yeah, that's the hallmark of a profitable company. Is the funniest thing was the day he died, the stock went up. You're like, these guys are so interchangeable and replaceable that you're like, he literally died and their stock was just up 2%.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't mourn the dude. I don't think you should go out and just kill people. Obviously I don't condone the killing. However, okay, fine. The guy's dead, whatever. The machine is going to, like you just mentioned, the machine will backfill these disgusting evil people.
Yeah. I mean, again, it'll continue. They're going to replace him with another guy who's going to do the same shit.
Yeah. So for anyone else that is considering this, I think you can do, how do I say this? I won't say it because I don't want you to get kicked off YouTube, but there's better ways to inspire change with these disgusting corporations.
Yes. Such as,
like Ted Kaczynski was a smart dude.
Well, people are saying that this guy's the new Unabomber. They've been calling him online the new Unabomber.
Well, I don't think we know enough information. Ted his IQ was like 170. This guy was brilliant, and they tried to frame him as a retarded person. But
yeah,
I don't think he's on his level. But I'm just saying, if you want to inspire change, I don't know, don't protest and don't kill people. Like, don't go murder a single person. I'm just saying there's bigger, better, bomber ways to do this.
All right. Well, it was nice having a YouTube channel. It was a good run.
No, I do not condone any violence.
No, we do not condone any of this behavior.
Can I give you, well, I don't want to say advice because that sounds dumb because you've been doing this way longer than I have, but
yeah, go ahead.
I would like to share, like, I've had some success with my show, and
that makes one of us.
Say, well, I'm trying to. I don't want you to stop doing this because I'm
not going to stop.
You've inspired me to want to be successful in everything I do. You're literally my hero. So I would like to say,
it's depressing.
Just one advice: hey, you get super chats, you get Rumble rants. I would like to Rumble rant you, and you like mention it.
Okay. Yeah, I do. I
Does
do.
That make any sense?
Like, yeah, I do try and read them when I have an opportunity to do so. Like I did in the middle of the show for the ones that, for at least the super chat. The problem is I can't look at Rumble and YouTube at the same time, and I got to run fucking Streamlabs, and I have Zoom open. It's just so much where I just I get lost and sometimes I forget. But yes, I see you are chatting over on Rumble.
Well, I mean, I want to thank you for giving me advice with Streamlabs and Zoom because I'm doing that now. So
yeah, okay. Well, I appreciate.
I think when you
honestly, the only thing
when they give you money, they want to give you more.
Sure, yeah, and I try and do that. Really, the only thing that'll really help me is just people sign up for the Patreon. But I do appreciate the super chats and the Rumble chats or whatever. Although I still don't. Yeah, I can't believe I didn't have that SWB audio not captured thing going on for fucking half an hour.
All right. Well, I think that's all I had to say.
Anyways, I appreciate the input, and yes, I do my best to shout out all the super chats and whatnot, and subscribers and stuff, members.
We love your show. Don't stop doing it, please. Let's figure out a way for you to make money off of it. People should give you more money because you deserve it.
I agree, but we'll see if that happens. All right, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, man.
All right, later, brother.
Later. Conspiracy extremist, everybody. He says it, not me. Give me money. I don't even want the money. I just want more people to watch this. I'd prefer if I could just get more viewers, so then I can just run ads, and then I don't even need your money. All right, 3 more callers. Please unmute yourself. Hello, you're on Low Value Mail.
Hey, it's Marcus.
Hey, what's up, Marcus? How's it going, man?
Just listening to all the chatting going on today.
Yep. What are your thoughts?
Been listening for I don't know, about a year, however long.
It's been a long one, man.
It
has been a fucking long one.
Yeah, but it's been cool. I never call in. I don't call in that much because I'm gaming, and I can't hear if they're coming from behind. If I'm talking on the phone and stuff.
Thanks, conspiracy extremist, for the super chat. Go ahead, yeah.
But yeah, I'm actually a much more extreme conspiracy extremist than conspiracy.
Really? I didn't even know such a thing was possible.
Yeah. No, yeah, it can be difficult to do, but people manage some from time to time. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I think I don't know. I guess there's probably too much I can say to not get you kicked off YouTube here. But
say what you want. It's after midnight. Well, they're not even watching right now.
What if they? Well, my big thing. What I'm wondering is, healthcare CEOs are going to be the people, or insurance CEOs are going to be the people who actually have 100% certainty on rates of unexpected death, potentially coming from a certain medical, maybe vaccine or something that people may or may not have gotten in the last couple of years.
You think so? That's interesting. That's an interesting theory.
They would have to be privy to that information at some point.
Sure. I mean, I feel like if it hasn't happened yet, every CEO of every major corporation, I'll tell you, if Tim Cook dies, you want to talk about stock dropping. If Tim Cook dies, man, that stock will fucking crash. Will not do well. But
Apple stock, yeah. So the stock, United stock, didn't really crash at all, did it?
No, I will actually just look it up. It was down that day, but I think since it happened, it's down a little bit. But that just might be the market. You never know, specifically. But since that happened, it's down. Sure. Oh no, it's down about 10% actually. So not great. That is a big drop for.
Oh wow, yeah, right.
For a blue chip stock like that.
Yeah, well, you'd kind of expect it to go down.
Yeah, but the day it happened, it was up 2%. So.
That's crazy.
I know.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
But I mean, they're all gonna have so much security now. If you're the CEO of any company, probably that has any sort of people don't like you, instantly you just have tons. I mean, these guys make $20 million a year. To throw them, a $500,000 a year security budget, it's nothing. Peanuts. And everybody who fucking uses them as their insurance provider, you're now paying for it.
I think we're going to go into a corporate security state. Have you seen the TV show Incorporated by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck?
I have not. I didn't know they had a TV show.
Yeah, it came out in 2016 or something. There was only one season, but it was basically a corporate dystopia future where basically all corporations, the government basically loses control, and then the corporations start making their own private armies.
You know what? Somebody tagged me in this today. I thought it was a show that was coming out. I didn't realize it was an older show, but someone tagged me in a video of this actually today, of this show.
That was me.
Oh, that was you. Okay. Well, then there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know you saw. All right. Well, anyway, yeah. So that was
cool.
That's my whole thing.
That's your thoughts?
I think.
You're saying you're saying things are going to get worse because of this. This is going to be a kind of a Patriot Act kind of deal for the corporations.
I'm not it seems like I mean, it all seems like it's all heading into like a corporate security, like CCTV kind of security state.
Yeah.
Like it's like heading towards the Chinese. Like, 'cause weren't the Chinese doing that during COVID and everything? With
big time.
Yeah.
Let's fucking hope not.
Yeah.
Let's hope. I mean, that would be the classic thing too. All the leftists are cheering on our demise as they go, yeah, this guy's awesome.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
This is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Do not cheer this on. You're just going to make it worse for literally everybody.
Yeah.
But that seems exactly how something like this would play out.
It's a crazy bind, yeah, because it's like and maybe like this, and this like the conspiracy theory here is like, are they doing some like false flag operations on us to make us want this extra, to make us want to trade away our freedom for this extra security?
I mean, if we're trading away our freedom for the security of CEOs, fuck that. That is maybe the last person that I would want to trade away my security for some guy who makes $20 million a year. Get your own fucking security.
That's okay, right? Exactly. So then they should just.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope you're wrong on this. I mean, you might be right.
I don't know.
Really.
Well, if they privatize, so then there's like an arms race then between private security and publicly sponsored security, and at some point, you know, like if I don't know, we'll see what happens. We should. I'll try to remain optimistic, but that's the conspiracy side.
All right. Interesting.
But
interesting thought.
I'll chat with you later because it was really fun chatting with you. So thank
cool,
you.
man. Appreciate it.
Later.
All right. Okay, we got Billy from Philly, I believe, is up next. Hello,
Danielson.
Yo,
Billy from Philly.
Billy from Philly. How you doing, man?
Cool, dude. What's shaking?
Nothing much. Just talking about CEOs getting off and Daniel Penny.
Yeah, those
getting justice.
All those parasites. Why does he get all the news coverage? Because he's rich. I mean,
you know what?
It
is. I mean, this is the classic, like how the media picks winners and losers in terms of stories, because this shouldn't be the number one story. Now maybe like, you know, they see this has the most interest, but they're purposely making this the number one story that they're going with. And so therefore it is the number one story, this Luigi Mangione shit, the CEO getting killed, but like doesn't need to be. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, I mean, we are talking about it, but we're talking about it because it's the number one story. Does it need to be? I don't know. I really don't know. But it is the number one story. Shout out Big Chimpin for joining the channel. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know, but it is the number one story. I mean, Syria could be equally bigger story. Arguably, I don't know.
That's what I figured. I thought Syria would be a bigger story, but I mean, as far as this
I mean, I think Daniel Penny's a bigger story than fucking this guy.
Yeah, I think so. He's all over everything. All the memes on Facebook are on him. It's like everything.
But it's still just this fucking CEO getting killed. It's almost like they want to make it the biggest story because they don't want their precious CEOs to get killed.
Another parasite gone. But what about, all right, so they focus on that. There's every 40 seconds a child is abducted. They say like almost 300,000 a year, and almost 60,000 kids are abducted every year in America from unknown. Like they're not parents, or it's usually that custody crap. But 60,000, they don't ever talk about that ever.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think with that story where it's like it's the dad picked up his kid from school, like every Amber Alert, like Amber Alerts. Honestly, almost every single Amber Alert is just some dad that wants to see their kid and picks them up from school when it wasn't their turn. And then the wife just fucking goes, "You're not allowed to do that. Amber Alert time. Let's go fucking nuclear." But I mean, I find it hard to believe there's 300,000 kids in America getting abducted a year. That's a lot. I mean, you would think you would have to know many people who have had their kids abducted at that number.
Well, they said it was over 200,000 were the parent and guardian dispute crap, but
yeah,
it was 58,600 that were just abducted just off the streets, like, and they say like 1 in 10,000 are found alive.
That's crazy. 1 in 10,000, so that's like fucking 57,000 kids are getting killed.
Yeah, just disappeared, and they, you know, the conspiracy theorists, they're going to Saudi Arabia or Russia, or they just ship them overseas in these shipping containers.
Just like they do
You
with cars.
You ever see those boats? Oh
Yeah.
my God, dude! I mean, you could set up you could play 10 football games in one of those.
Well, that's what happens to every car that gets stolen, at least in Canada, is they all just get shipped to Africa. I guess you could just fill those seats with kids and fucking save some money.
Yeah, who knows? It's pretty. And then you were talking about the richest people in the world. I think it's the South. Well, that BRICS started, and Saudi Arabia went over to is going to be getting rid of our dollar. Is 1924 they signed oil contracts. I think the Bushes had something to do with that back in the day, and they ran out in they were 100-year contracts. They ran out in 2024. So that's when Saudi Arabia is now going to go with. They're not using our dollar anymore.
Yeah.
And all these contracts ran out, so we're gonna. It's everything is money, but the richest people are those Saudi oil princes.
Oh yeah,
over there,
tons of money. I mean, apparently, what was I watching before this show started? I think something with like a bunch of the Syrian. I think it was like some of the Syrian people were like in Saudi, but they were like locked down there, where they like couldn't leave they were like being held essentially. Some of like the Syrian like politicians were. I think it was Syrian politicians being held in Saudi. My brain might be fried right now. I've been doing too long on this show, but it was something like that. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, the Saudis have the most money. They have literally. I mean, they have infinite oil, and it's the easiest to drill. Like they can literally. I mean, apparently the Saudis can get oil for like $3 a barrel or something out of the ground, something like insanely cheap. It's right at the surface. Something. It's like their oil is right at the surface. It's not like that fracking shit where you got to like go way deep. It's right at the surface. Like it's just there and it's unlimited.
Oh, it is. They just constantly fill up. It's the second most abundant fluid on the planet, water than oil. And it's just, they have so many, if one gets too low, they just turn another one on, and that one fills up in a couple of years, and they turn that back on. They can pump as much as they want forever out of that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I don't know about the conspiracy part of that, but yeah, I didn't know about the whole kids thing. Like that seems shocking amount. I always just chalk it up to just some parental dispute.
Yeah, it's crazy the amount, and all the what was that child scandal? Damn it!
What was that? The Franklin scandal?
The Franklin scandal, yeah, like everybody was involved in that. The politician, look at Dennis Hastert, the third in line to the presidency. He was a convicted child rapist.
The Franklin scandal. I should have Nick Bryant back on, actually. Maybe once Trump gets into office and maybe we get some more about the Epstein stuff, I'll have Nick Bryant back on, because I haven't heard from him in a minute, but I'm sure he's been fucking doing some wild shit. But he was a great guest. He wrote the book, The Franklin Scandal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was on the show like probably like a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago, something like that. Talking all about it. He's the guy who released Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book to Vanity Fair, I believe. But he's like an investigative reporter. You guys, if you never check out his podcast, go check him out. Go support that guy, because he's doing good shit, and he definitely could use his support. He's been on War Mode a bunch of times. His name's Nick Bryant. He's been on the War Mode podcast. I think he's been on Matt and Shane's podcast. He's done that whole. He's done all that shit, and he's been on this show. But he does good work.
That's cool.
Yeah. All right, I gotta let you go, man. I gotta wrap this show up. We're at fucking 3.5 hours.
God bless, Danny. Love you.
Billy from Philly.
Late.
Thanks, dog. Appreciate it. All right, last call of the night. You have 4 seconds to unmute your shit. Come on. I know this is Sammy. Sammy, where are you? By the way, shout out to all the super chats. I appreciate you all. Man City 5, Pete Loden, Lord Pepsi, Conspiracy Extremist, Mav Sammy, who I'm literally trying to unmute right now. Maurice, Big Chimpin. I appreciate you all. I'm gonna figure this out, and I'm gonna end the poll right now. 55% say I'm white. I might put that in I might frame that and put this on the wall. All right, he's not picking up. I don't know what's going on. He's in the chat, but he's not picking up. Sorry, Sammy. We'll have to get to you next time. All right, that's been the show, everybody. We will be back. Someone says, I missed this style of show, Jeff Odebear. Is that what I should do? Should I just do open lines all the time? I can't. So when I do open lines all the time, they don't go well. And when I do only guests, it doesn't do well. That's why I was like, I'm going to do guests and open lines. I'll figure it out. I don't know. I'll do my best. All right, that's been the show, everybody. Shout out to Mark, producer Mark. Could not do this without him. And I cannot do this without any of you. I truly cannot do this without you guys. If you do want to support the show, and shout out to Darren Bianco for joining the thing. It doesn't even need to be money. Just go fucking post it in your Instagram stories, the YouTube channel, post it on Twitter, post it on Facebook, just wherever. Just do something. Anything. I would appreciate it. And if you do want to support the show, you can drop a super chat. You can patreon.com/lowvaluemail. Any of the things. I spend so much time on this show. I really want the show to be popular and successful. I'm sure you guys do too. So just help me help you. That's all I ask. All right, everybody. Have a happy holidays. We will be back in a few weeks. Tomorrow night, pretty certainly a new episode of The Bathhouse tomorrow night. Check it out. Live from the Stand Comedy Club Green Room. You are all the best. Have a lovely evening. See you soon. Bye-bye.
You know it, all my shit heroic. Empathic abilities, yeah, my face be also stoic. Bleep, blow up, nigga, that just means I'm working. They see me as a leader, so that's why I'm Captain Kirkin. These tracks from the stars, that much is for certain. You can fit his hit if you up or if you hurt. I'm raising my stock, not talking my feet in some Birkin. Number Johnny 5, got a fucking short circuit. Bring the track to life when I spit phenomenal. When I hit, she feel that shit in her abdominals. These rappers make me laugh like comic view, they comical. You know I got a ball out, I hit the track running just like Sonic do. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, they was trying to get me on my hype shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, and they tried to down me up some KO type shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, now we pulling up fresh on some flight shit. Ha. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, they was trying to get me on my hype shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, and they tried to down me up some KO type